So I'm going to do a quick live. It's not going to be long. It's about the censorship that TikTok has decided to wage a war, basically, on us. And I'm getting really sick of it. So I just posted a beautiful video, and I'm going to say it was beautiful. And it had this beautiful music from Lord of the Rings. And they decided that because there was the nipple of somebody, that they should remove it. It's art, number one. Number one, it's art. Meanwhile, we've got TikTok letting girls wear bras and jumping up and down. Jumping up and down. But art, where there's a little bit of an idea of a woman's breast, that's considered not okay. But it's okay for me to, if I actually wore a bra right now and jumped up and down, there would be no problem. You know why? Because I'm selling it from TikTok Shop. So those of us who are actually doing something and getting shit done and saying the right things, one of them is Angie Smith. She had to do a backup account. She went through hell there, and she's done some amazing work. I have another Andromeda Flame doing amazing work, teaching people chakras and really teaching people the nuances and the particular things that you need to understand about each and every chakra so you can heal yourself. So people like us who are actually coming in on TikTok to use this platform to share knowledge, wisdom, and healing methods are being shadow banned. Users and people are telling me they're being removed. They're asking me, did you remove me? I'm like, no, of course I didn't remove you. I had someone give me, you know how you tap the screen like this? Okay. But when you tap the screen, it makes people, $3 here, whatever. I mean, you got to be on the fucking TikTok live for like 6 hours, and then people do make a living. Let's be honest. I never do this because I'm here to give you knowledge, I make a living on other ways. But with that said, it's becoming obvious to me that TikTok is not really, it's more interested in capitalism than our ascension, than our process of growth, than our ability to share real information. So I'm going to ask you, I'm setting up an account. I actually have an account on Rumble. I'm going to put it on my link tree. If you like my content, I'm moving my stuff to YouTube and Rumble, and that's where I'll be. I'm going to start moving and doing lives on Rumble and YouTube. So if you like my content, go on my link tree and start, subscribing to my YouTube. I'm working on a guided meditation for twin flames. I am not going to edit the art. It will not be free because then there'll be privacy, so I can give you the kind of art I want. It won't be erotic. There's nothing crazy. I'm not going to start putting pasties on my art. Period. I'm not. I'm an artist. And so when I do a guided meditation, first of all, if you're following the guide, you're not going to fucking see the art. But if you decide to look at it to get an idea, to get inspired, so on and so forth, I'm not 12. You don't tell me what I can put on an art piece, but it's okay for me to wear barely anything and jump up and down to sell a bra for $21.50. I was going to do a commercial on the bra, but because of TikTok pulling that shit, I'm like, done. So one of the things I will advertise, which I really believe in, because I would never advertise in nothing I believe. I have to believe it or else I won't sell it to you, is this incredible Shilajit salt. I'm fasting, and you're going to see me putting that salt in the water, which is, I think, incredible. And hopefully you'll buy it, and that'll help me keep my, living going. But I'm going to keep this channel going until it's banned by, by our great government. And and I will continue doing that. I was going to do a VPN and keep it going, but I'm like, fuck it. No, I can go on Rumble and just continue. You probably won't see art like that. You'll probably, actually, I'm going to do a lot more readings. It's pushing me to do a lot more card readings and energy readings and so forth. So I'll be doing that. It's like the universe is pushing my format, and it's asking me to go bigger, go home. And the fact that, oh my God, God forbid I should have a nipple on my art. Oh my God, what shall I do? What shall I do? I've just never seen it. I just don't know what to do with nipples and art. So because they pull that shit, you can imagine I'm pissed because the content I'm seeing on this platform, and those videos stay for a long ass. In fact, they don't ever get removed. But God forbid you're a human rights advocate, you want, or you're a spiritualist working with, people like you who are confused, who are hurting, who are dealing with a lot of confusion over the twin flame journey. For example, the dark night of the soul, the ascension, being a starseed, being homesick. And me and Andromeda are teaching you stuff when we do these lives. We've done guided meditations. They're all on my YouTube. There's tons of guided meditations that I've done. Well, not tons. At least, how many? 20. At least 20. It should be about 20. And this one, because I don't want YouTube to ban my channel, you will have to unfortunately pay for that one. And I'll figure out the price so it's affordable. But it's going to be a guided meditation on clearing any blockages with you and your twin. And it works. I know it because I've done it many, many times. So that is a guided meditation that I was announcing. And I'll have that up soon. And I'll find out how you have to pay through YouTube. But we'll do it. And it'll be 18 or over. Only because it's beautiful work that I'm working on AI. And I'm going through my blue period. Which, by the way, is an art term. I don't know if you guys know that. Using AI as my canvas, right? And I want to do a series of really more in-depth guided meditations like soul retrieval meditation. There is a guided meditation on soul retrieval, which you can check out on my page. It's fantastic. It's important because it initiates the very beginnings of the awakenings of choosing which incarnation your guides want you to see, okay? So you can look that up. It's one of my first videos. The way you do it when you go on YouTube, on my page, you'll go most popular video, right? You have the filtering system. Go ahead and use that. It'll pop up that video plus my video on daily practices on the chakras, excuse me, for womb healing and through recalibration. Excuse me, I'm getting sick actually. I've been battling a little cold. I don't think it's going to be long though. I don't get sick for too long. Usually it's a 5-minute window, 24 window. But anyway, so follow me on YouTube and Rumble. I will put that up today. Actually, I'm just going to put it up and you guys can check it out. And then we'll go ahead and you'll have access to guided meditations. And I'll do something because I was looking at Patreon and then I'm guiding people to, I do have a Patreon, you can check it out, but I'm going to set it up so that it's free so you guys can check it out and that'll keep you in contact because God knows what we're doing right now. I know that TikTok went through a massive battle while we were all asleep and some of the powers of this platform were transferred over to not the right hands. Let's just put it that way. And you can look it up yourself as to what happened. And so a lot of us who are humanitarians, spiritualists, who are helping with the ascension, Andromeda Flame is the most benign creator on this platform. I'm not joking when I say that, unless you're showing off your kitty cat and kittens. Besides that, on her content that is spiritual, she is the most benign of all spiritual content creators. And she's and so between, I can see mine being kind of on the edge because I do edgy shit, but she doesn't. And she's been shadow banned and she's been fucked with. And there's no reason for that. And I think that also there are certain people who have spiritual beliefs they are orthodox, dogmatic, and they are really going after content creators who are talking about real spiritual work. Because Angie Smith, for example, was helping with what was happening with Hurricane Helene and West Carolina, and I was helping, and all of us, and what's happening with Gaza. Now, finally, people are realizing this is not a joke. What happened there? We weren't wrong when we were believing in it. I don't give a fuck if that offends you. The world has agreed. The ICC has agreed. So for many of us, we've been doing this, and because we toggle between spirituality and the common problems of the common man, woman, and child in 3D existence, and trying to navigate all of us, as many of us as possible, out of this paradigm into 5D new earth. Okay? And it is not, and none of us are the same. You have to understand, there are spiritualists who hold sacred space. There are people right now that you will never hear of who are monks and nuns, yogis, yoginis that are up in the mountains in different parts of the world, from Europe, from France to the Nepalese mountains to Peru, to here in the Americas and so on, in Africa. And they hold sacred space. They go into deep meditation, and that's what they do. Meanwhile, we have indigos coming out of the woodwork, kicking down doors. I consider myself an indigo. And then you have other people who are more in the crystal rainbow type of energy. We're all needed for this incredible shift and change. And so when you have social platforms that are only interested in capitalistic ventures and not allowing real content to go out and to be found by many. I'm going to tell you something. I did a live today with TikTok, okay? And I had like something like a certain amount of diamonds. It would have been like $3, big fucking deal. But they took the money. They disqualified the live. And I actually uploaded the live, just so you know, on my YouTube. And you can check it out. There's nothing I said that was wrong. And so there's something going on. I don't know what it is. I actually don't give a fuck what it is. Really, what I'm here to do is just literally say, please follow me on YouTube. Please follow me on, I'm trying to build up my Instagram account again. And I'm working on that right now. Sacred Intimacy Tarot. I think there's probably one person following me. And I'm building that up from the ground up. And what else? I was actually going to invest in TikTok, and I've been advertising this and that, but they're still slapping us in the face. And I'm shocked at the most benign things. And I know that there are people who have their dogmatic views that are mad, angry at the spiritual movement, the ancient wisdom writers, the star seeds who have come to collapse the system and to bring on the truth about Yeshua and Mary Magdalena and about how we were made, and it's pissing them off, and they're going after many of us. Not just me. It's not a victim bullshit. It's a lot of us, okay? Because I'm talking to them, and the same shit's happening to them. So the way you can help is when you see spiritual content that has balls, please repost their work. Repost it, save it, like it, comment on it, okay? Because we need each other to bring the voice of reason and the voice of the transmission from the higher realms, from the Galactic Council into 5D to create this new earth. And we're all needed. Once they shut out the lights with TikTok, unless something crazy happens, or some miracle where it's the 9th hour, fantastic. TikTok can remain. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to have to start moving my the Akashic records. Me and my team, me and my fish are leaving the building at some point soon, because I need to be able to explore with you the many realms and your downloads and what is going on. Like just recently, I was talking to one of my clients who said that in one of her hypnotherapy sessions, she saw Men in Black. And I kid you not, it's not the fucking movie. It's never been the movie. I don't know why they took that. But anyway, it's not Men in Black knocking on your door because they don't want you to talk about UFOs. It was literally something that I saw as a child through all my flying dreams. And I spoke to four other clients. That doesn't include me, who had the same issue. So what I'm finding is that some of the biggest woohoo that we're not sharing with each other because we're not sure, are we cuckoo? Is it just me? Is it a very subjective experience? We're sharing notes and we're going, holy shit. And once you share notes and you realize there's a pattern, then you ask yourself, what does that pattern mean? And what does it mean for other people? And it could help parents who have kids who are having nightmares and flying dreams. And you could probably ask the right questions, like, do you see anyone when you're flying? Why are you scared in your flying dream? What's going on or in that dream? Do you see people or shadows or something? In other words, you can kind of try to bring out to the child what's going on, because if there is these nefarious, energies coming in, what you could do is open the four corners above and below in the child's room, for example, to eradicate any energies allowed to come in. Especially if you have a psychic kid, an empathic kid, a kid that is incredibly intuitive, it's a crystal kid or a rainbow kid, you get what I'm saying. And these kids need to be protected at all costs. Because what's interesting in Monster Inc., the movie, which I only watched, I think, once or twice with my kid a long time ago. A long time ago. But when I think about it, remember, they could eat up fear. They love to get fear out of these kids. Okay, well, so we want to make sure. So my four corners above and below is on my YouTube channel, and you can check it out and learn it. Learn it like it's yours. And make it yours, because it's actually a shamanic ritual before people take the sacred medicine. Oh my God, can I say sacred plant medicine? Can I say ayahuasca, bufo, combo, or will I be pulled? Just asking. So it's used by shamans, so it's very potent. So if your kid is having nightmares, you may want to, right before, and I know it's sage or palo santo or copal, you may want to do the ritual for them in their bedroom. Like make sure they're in the bedroom when you do it, like sage them, sage yourself, and then sage the room. Read them their bedtime stories, kiss them on the head, make sure they got water. No tinkling at the last minute. Do not have them leave the room unless it's really an emergency. But you should be good to go, and then the kid can actually sleep in a protective circle. I'm not joking. What they're doing with these kids is that they're trying to instill, because when we're born right out of source, right? In the realms of source, high dimensional unconditional love by divine source, we come unafraid. We come pretty pure, right? We might have some scars where we're good to go. And then fear is installed in multiple ways. But what's interesting is that now I'm starting to realize, in having conversations with these 4 women, right? All women, that they were all having flying dreams, and they all saw men in black. And it was scaring the fuck out of them. And so it's the installation, the seeding of fear. Why is this important? Well, because we've been controlled with fear for centuries. More than that. Thousands of years. So what I want you to do is, when you see people who are really on the ball with this, right? Please go ahead and repost all the spiritual videos that you really love, that you think are strong. They have a good a message. It's an original message. It's not regurgitated shit from someone else. It's actually potent. It's helping you. Follow Andromeda Flame. If you're not following me, follow me. Go on my Linktree. Go on my YouTube. That's where you're going to see a lot of lives with Andromeda Flame, other guests that I've had throughout. I've even had a very well-known, actually, psychologist who's well-known in the narcissist community, who explained that what twin flames are is not narcissism. And she knows the difference. I've had like 3 different therapists, okay, that have told me, yeah, this is not, well, I didn't need them to tell me, but just to tell you in an interview that this twin flame thing is not new age. It's not new. It's ancient. In fact, in some respects, it's more ancient than when this planet was first inhabited by the first, humanoids. And so we are ancient souls. Many of us are ancient souls, obviously. And I've talked about the twin flame journey for a long time, why we're real, why we're being told that we don't exist, why that's a very psyop move to separate the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And if you don't believe me, all you have to do is look at Yeshua and Mary Magdalena. What an absolute fuckery of a job done by Pope Benedict, by the way, who thought it would be a good idea to combine the 3 Marys. And I've said this again and again. I hate to repeat myself, but some of you are new. And so this is documented. Any good theologian knows that this is true. I'm not making this shit up. So with the Gospel of Mary, and you start listening to how these apostles were talking to her, and how they totally were jealous of her, disrespected her, you kind of understand that there was a definite agenda to separate the divine masculine and the divine feminine in the last 2,000 years. There's no argument there. All right? So if that's true, on a grand scale of the one of the most ultimate divine couples, right? Thank God for the Da Vinci Code, which owes its entire book to Holy Blood, Holy Grail by these two authors, okay? What's his name? Dan Brown stole, I'm not joking, that story from those two guys who wrote the book Holy Blood, Holy Grail, an amazing book, and made it palatable, turned into a fiction, and boom, off we were running, understanding the Knights Templars and how they were involved in all of that, okay? Anyway, and if you guys don't know about the Knights Templar, you need to learn this shit because you need to know how people were hunted down for speaking the truth and keeping the truth protected for hundreds of years. And it's not woohoo. It's actually fucking written. It's actually historical, and you can verify it yourself. You don't have to believe me. And one of the great archivist and research and spiritual researcher, meaning he believes in what I'm talking about, is Freddie Silva, who did a whole thing on the Knights Templar. He did a couple talks on the Knights Templars, and he talks about what happened and why they were hunted down by the French king and all of these things that were hidden of the Holy Grail, for example, right? So it's threaded into our history. And we are being asked to make a stand once and for all in this particular timeline, not to be threatened or muzzled or shut down or told that we can't speak our truth. We need to support people like Billy Carson, Freddie Silva, these guys who self-publish their books because they will not be published. David Icke. They are not being published. And so yeah, I know it's $27 for one of these books. You know what I'm saying? But you want to support these guys that have that could have actually had a very nice, easy life, and instead are sounding the horns and blowing all of these weird, dogmatic misconception and just lies in smithereens and bringing us the truth. Many, many truths that have been lost. And I remember there's this kid called, my favorite guy. He's a big advocate of the Palestinian, tragedy that's going on. And I remember last year, he was approached by certain malevolent people at the tune of $5,000 to become pro you-know-what. And he refused and showed the email and showed and later on we found out that this was happening a lot. People, influencers with over 500,000 followers were being bought. And many of them were bought. So you have to ask yourself, when you look at people saying that twin flames don't exist and they're spiritualists with a certain amount of followers, ask yourself, what is it for them? How much money are they getting paid? What's going on? Why is it so important for them to vilify the twin flame and twin ray reality? Why not talk about starseed and ascension? Why spend time talking shit about something they probably have never experienced? Why? And my question to them, and I'm like, I don't give a shit anymore, you know? How much did you get paid? What's in it for you to say that? When I see you doing content and spiritual readings about crypto or finances or careers or, starseed ascension, why go into the realm that you have no knowledge of? None, right? Did you get paid? And it sounds like crazy. Why would they? Well, when you look at the CIA, the alphabet government, and look on their page about how they paid painters, I did a whole live on that. Okay? And how they were looking to influence society through culture, through the arts, music, and movies. It's a real thing. It's right there on their fucking Freedom of Information Act. You can look it up yourself. So it's important. Billy Carson brings truth with historical receipts. Absolutely. And so did Zachariah Stitchin. Can you imagine? Zachariah Stitchin was alive in the 1950s, translating these Sumerian tablets. And the only reason why we have his stuff is because there must have been people who who were, they were seeing UFOs, and they kept his work protected from being destroyed. Yeah, the Knights Templars became richer than the king and had to go into hiding. Yes, but there's more to it than that. Okay, but absolutely, thank you for adding to the conversation. So I'm more interested in really letting you know that I'm moving everything over. My lives are going to look a little different, because they don't have these. I won't, unfortunately, be able to give you this beautiful work, this art. So what? I'll just go ahead and we will have the camera pointing to something beautiful and inspiring. And we will continue our talks on YouTube Lives and Rumble Lives, and I'll see if I can connect them. And that's where a lot of us are fleeing. We're fleeing to YouTube to bridge into Rumble, to get you guys to go into Rumble. A lot of you should be moving to Rumble as well, to be honest. Just get yourself a fucking account so that you can have access to the ones who are being censored, because that's where they are, just so you know. Right? Any questions or comments on that? I really appreciate you guys being here. Let me read what you're saying here. How religion and government has lied and twisted history need to research the truth. Absolutely. And many of us have read a lot of books, a lot of, this and that. Today, I was going to let an audiobook of David Icke play. He's not saying anything crazy. He's not being rude. He's not being, he's not vulgar. He's not swearing. He is just talking data, truth. And I thought, they're going to shut the fucking life down. So the only way I can actually get the book for you guys to listen to would probably be Rumble. Because then you'll hear why YouTube. And as a matter of fact, every social media platform removed him. And he was not saying anything that wasn't recorded and verified. Like you said, with receipts after receipts after receipts. Absolutely. So we also have, we know that Texas just passed a bill, or I'm not even paying attention, to be honest. I'm in such revulsive shock that they've just passed where they're going to now teach the Bible. Okay, so the Bible or the Dead Sea Scrolls? That would be my question if I was in Texas. The Bible or the Dead Sea Scrolls? Are you going to teach the Gospel of Thomas? Are you going to teach the Gospel of Mary? Are you going to teach Buddhism? Are you going to teach the Quran? Are you going to teach not New Age, but ancient wisdom, spirituality? Are you going to teach Wicca? I mean, I'm not a Wiccan, but are you going to teach that so kids can see the different things and so they can learn how to think and discern what resonates with them? Are you going to teach Hinduism? Are you going to teach religious studies? Bravo, then. Yes, but no, that's not what they're going to do. They're going to teach the Bible. A corrupt book that was not really where all the people, the person that suffered the most, Yeshua, we can all agree, okay? No matter what you think, if he survived that scene on the cross or did not, he suffered the most. None of us will disagree on that one, right? Okay, so they're going to take the person who suffered the most, who is the quote-unquote son of God, right? And they're going to only use that, but not the scrolls hidden in the Sinai desert and in caves in Egypt that were hidden by the Essenes. In other words, they're stuffing these scrolls in these jars and sealing them. 2,500 years ago, 2,300 years ago, they're sealing those jars in those mountainous caverns, knowing that one day they would be found by the right generation, and that it was not safe to let these scrolls amongst the people who would, as soon as they got their hands on it, destroy it. And I talk about a lot of these things because the ascension is not a joke. It really is happening. And I know you feel it because many of you feel ill at ease in your body, in the way you eat, in the way you feel, and the energy. And I can see the sluggishness where I live. And it's not just where I live. It's in California. It's in New York. It's in London. I know. I talk to people all over the world. They're feeling a dragging energy. And the 1% is making it difficult, but we have to band together. We have to support each other in whatever way. So before you get yourself a Starbucks coffee at $10, damn near, Frappuccino, buy someone's book. And I don't mean on eBay. Usually I tell my clients, look, I know you're broke, just go on eBay, right? But I'm doing that. Billy Carson, I'm getting it right on Amazon. I'm making sure he gets the money or wherever else I can get it from him. David Icke, I'm getting his books right on Audible because I want him to get the money. Does that make sense? I want him to be supported financially. And that's what we can do with these men and women who are putting their necks on the chopping block for us. Does that make sense? They cannot win. And as long as they hold us in hostage and literally punishing the people who are, we're talking about, some of them, it takes them a year to write a book, to research it, to travel, right? And then to punish them for sharing and calling it misinformation, because that's where we're going and you know it. The View did a couple comments saying, we need social media to be controlled. Wait, hang on. Did you just say that with a straight face? All the comments on The View is, why is this show still on? From YouTube to Instagram to TikTok. Why are they still on? Yeah, that's a question. Meanwhile, Whoopi is sitting there at $8 million a year, something that you'll never make in a whole fucking lifetime, and sitting there going, she works for a living. Okay. So we have a society of leaders who are really in the let him eat cake mentality, which was very obvious and evident when we saw the gala, right? What was it called? The gala, where literally this poor Haley Bailey basically had the mistake of saying, let him eat cake in her little Marie Antoinette outfit. Meanwhile, what were they all paying? $75,000 a ticket? Some people don't even make that in a year. So we do have leadership that are very much let him eat cake. We know that billionaires, in fact, there's a little meme going on saying, if a monkey was hoarding all the bananas, the scientists would be asking themselves, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with this? What's mentally wrong with the monkey? That it's hoarding all the bananas? Yeah, that's a good question. And so there's a responsibility that's not being wielded by some of them who have the power, who could write checks and still not make a dent on their bank accounts. And yet they refuse to. Okay, they'd rather ship rockets up into the sky. It's insane. And so for the ones who are sitting and speaking out and writing books and doing talks and for the greater good of the collective awakening, the great gathering of the star season, the great awakening, I want you to support them. And hopefully you'll have enough discernment to see that some of these content creators, in fact, I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of spiritual content creators, I block. I don't even want to hear the bullshit. I'd rather see fucking people with their kittens, saving a kitten, saving a dog, reposting a dog that needs a new home, than reposting some of the shit I hear. Because a lot of it is regurgitated. Yes, I'm talking shit. It's called discernment. And the reason I'm saying that to you is because I just mentioned some of the top people that I really admire. Some whose names you've never heard, and I just mentioned it in the video, and some who are relatively famous in our circle, in our world, your world, my world, okay? Meanwhile, we sound to most people, right, insane. This is why most of the clients that come to me are hypnotherapy, Akashic readings, tarot readings, twin flame readings. You know what they say? First thing out of their mouth, I feel like I'm going crazy. Well, yeah, it's a Twilight Zone scene, and I don't know if you ever saw the show. It's an incredible show. Twilight Zone was an amazing show, which I wish, I don't want to see them anymore. But anyway, one of them was of this beautiful woman. She was absolutely gorgeous. And everyone else had faces like pigs. And she was going to plastic surgery to make her look like the pig. And they were horrified at how ugly she was. So the show was kind of funny because it was about perception. But it was a horror movie. And in a way, you're around, no offense, pigs. You're around people who just, and it's an insult to pigs because I love pigs actually. But they are so brainwashed. They cannot wrap their heads around new, expansive, freeing truths, freeing. They free you from the shackles of the brainwashing. I think of my mother, who was went through World War II in 1939 when she was born in France, and the fear that was just, I mean, as a little toddler, just hearing, the sirens and the German and all of the shit that was going on in World War II. It didn't end for the French until 1945, and I think about her first 5 years. First 5 years are the most important. Imagine that. So her generation was totally fucked, and by the time she came into this country, it was like she believed in the American dream as it was given to her. She'd buy only Cadillacs, the whole bit, But I remember she was just really believed in what the news was saying. If CNN or ABC or CB or whatever said this, that's it. It was a fact. Because it was a time when journalism actually meant something. Even Rolling Stones used to do an article in the 1970s of what was going on with the Contras in South America. Every month they'd have an article. I know because I used to buy the articles and fucking read them. I wasn't just buying it for the music and to see who was I remember it was this year U2 came out with Boy, their first album called Boy. And in that space of time, in between Boy coming out and John Lennon being shot near the Dakota Apartments, Rolling Stones was putting out articles on what was going on with we had real journalism then. For real. Like viable people, thinkers who were there, who had just walked out of the hippie movement and the Vietnam War. So what I'm trying to say to you is, what the fuck happened though? I mean, the 80s weren't great. It was the 70s that were great. Why? Because we still had a huge pool of people who were thinkers, who were analyzing shit, who was calling shit out. And then suddenly 80s came and we lost our minds. It's like we got a massive collective lobotomy of consciousness where greed was good. So my point to you is now we're going into another loop of massive ascension and we are fighting it because it is a time right now. It's critical time. Remember the scene in Gladiator. Remember the good one with Richard Harris. There was an idea of Rome that was so beautiful, right? I'm paraphrasing, that you could only say in a whisper because it was so fragile. We're there. The ascension is fragile right now. It is fragile. And we need to be very aware of our own feelings in the way our body is speaking to us, because we're going through, I'm going to say the junk DNA is being activated. Shit's happening, my friends. And you have to be very protective of your energy, and you have to gather things that are going to give you knowledge and strength, because knowledge is power. And you've got to make sure that you support the voices that they're trying to oppress with a vengeance. And they don't care. Since 2001, journalists have been paid out by corporate and all speak the truth accordingly. And exactly. Corporate rulers took control. Absolutely. And that's absolutely right on. And so we're in a situation that is serious. And we are. And as a matter of fact, if this was not a serious time, they wouldn't fuck with us at all. Because they wouldn't care, because they know it's a small handful of cuckoos, so we don't care. But there's a huge movement. There's 144,000 of us, and there's more than that waking up, rubbing the sleep from their eyes and in shock. And the first thing that happens when people know they've been fucked with and lied to, what happens the first thing? They get into a massive depression because they realize, my God, I thought this was real, but it's been a lie. The whole thing's a lie. And that freaks people out. And when people survive that, it's a baptism by fire. And at that point, game over. Fucking what books do you recommend? What should I read? Who should I listen to? And I'm going to be honest with you, with my twin dying, I was a little bereft because, you're expecting at least 5 more years with your beloved or 10 or whatever. And that doesn't happen. So it is a mind fuck, but ultimately, we have to get the ball going. We cannot at all allow this to continue. And at this point, I was a great supporter of TikTok. I really was. And that is a massive disappointment to me, because I'm talking to all of my familiars on TikTok platform and the ones kicking ass and helping. There was no reason why Angie Smith got her fucking platform removed. And it took her and asking many of us to repost and to share and to comment and to this, and while she was appealing. And finally, it was brought back, but it should have never happened because there was not one thing she said that wasn't factual, good intentional, helpful, and loving. They're taking people down that are helping other people, that are giving real knowledge. And Andromeda Flame, it's happening to her. She should be having, her fucking shit should be going viral, and it's not. It's being suppressed. My shit's being suppressed. You can look at some of my, you can't tell. Look at some of my past videos from last year. You'll see 16,000 likes, shit like that. Because as long as I didn't say anything about anything, and at the time I was, getting my feet wet, learning the platform, learning, and really trying to get the message out about twin flames, because I saw the damage that was being done by supposed experts who didn't know shit and hadn't lived the experience from the beginning to the damn near end. And I did, and people like me, and I gathered people like me who were really, really getting it, like Andromeda's in a twin ray connection, right? And so she was attracted to my content, and this is how we became incredible friends. We're like sisters. And so I know that these platforms are here for us starseeds to meet each other, to help each other, to support each other, to share knowledge and books and so forth. I'm trying to figure out how to share my list of books through... meat suit is not who we are. Spirit first, always. It's always spirit, absolutely. Independent news tells more the truth. Honestly, the independent news is all about, to be honest with you, it's all about us, boots on the ground. It started with the lockdown. I mean, I started seeing people just flipping out their phones going, yeah, I know, where's the line? Hospital empty. And was that happening in some cases? Yeah, it was. But there were certain places and certain things being said that no. So it's perception sometimes, and it's also misinformation, as they like to call many of us who have, actually shared the truth. There was a particular video going viral of a little kid like putting his hand through a wall. Well, guess what? I saw the original video. Okay, it was supposed to be something out of West Bank type of deal. And the original video was actually a person panning over the child. And then they had created a wall. So it looked like it had been buried. You know what I'm saying? Buried. It was a fucking setup. It was bullshit. And it went viral, and people going, oh my God, I hope you saved the kid. And it was sad because that video was fake. And so what's happening also, and there are a lot of sick puppies out there, okay, a lot of sick people that are creating content for the simple reason they want they want the likes, they want it to go viral because they get paid by TikTok. Do you understand? And so that is dangerous. So you need to have discernment. There's certain videos like with animals being quasi-rescued. I'm like, nah, I'm not liking that. I'm not even going to comment. I'm stepping away. That person is manipulating the algorithm. And God knows, I hope to God bless that animal, for example. And so I know that there are people who are supporting the Philistines. And you can ask them, what is the real content creators who are in Gaza? There's a kid right now, beautiful green eyes. I'm sure you've seen him with curly hair. And you see the rubble behind him. He's not fucking kidding. He's right there. Okay? He does lives every day, probably because it gives him enough cash to get money, to get food, to get, flour that's at, I don't know, $20 for a cup of flour, for example, right? Because they're gouging shit over there, which is always that way. It's always been like that throughout all wars. Chocolate was suddenly, fucking $20, right? That kind of thing. A bar of chocolate. So sadly, that's how human beings are when shit hits the fan. Unfortunately, they find an opportunity to make money and they fucking go for it. But with that said, we have to understand that we're going to have to take this seriously. You need to gather your people. You need to figure out who is in your crowd. Who are your people? Who are your tribesmen and tribeswomen? And bond. Go on WhatsApp. Go on Facebook. Go on WhatsApp. And go on. Thank you. And go on a Telegram. Okay. And I have set up a Telegram. I think it's on my link tree. I have a Telegram. And I have a WhatsApp group. I have 2 groups. So if you want to hit me up, you can DM me your phone number and I will add you to my WhatsApp group. I'm not kidding. We need to stick together. I know I have a group of women that Andromeda Flame, and these women are talking about, they were talking about the election. None of them, listen, everyone was voting for different people. Everyone had an opinion on why to vote for this one or that one. And no one fucking hit the fan and went crazy and said, fuck off, I'm leaving the group. Okay, that's not how we act. This is not how you act. Okay? We could actually agree to disagree with civility, which is the whole point. The one thing that bonded us as women, and we have one sacred masculine, we're hoping to bring in another sacred masculine, was the fact that we were all on the twin flame, twin ray journey. And we all, in many ways, agree to this journey and what it means, the ascension, this, that, and the other. And we, in that way, we support. Politically, do we agree? Hell no. We fucking don't agree at all. We have a doula that's somewhat funny about freedom of choice to do the do, if you get my but when no one's fucking fighting. Because we understand the incredible power of divide and conquer, and we will not play that game. The 1% will not win that game not with us, not with our group. It's not happening. Many of us can't wait to see each other physically, hug each other. We're all planning a trip to Europe at some point, because I'm moving to Europe, and we're going to do a retreat, and the more the merrier. I'm just going to say, there are incredible people in Glastonbury. There are incredible tribes of people in Scotland. I mean, communities of people in France. Believe it or not, Portugal. And there's an incredible community right here up in Northern California. There's like pockets of, and more communities are building up. And I spoke about, in one of my lives, I spoke about a community of, I believe, hang on, I'm trying to remember. I don't remember if it was 45 or 90 people. Each person only made, listen to this will blow your mind, $9,000 a year. So you know that's Social Security. Good old boys. They really think anyone can live on that shit. But yes, they didn't care. The government didn't care. So $9,000 is the minimum, or no, the maximum for those particular people for whatever reason. And they decided to band their money together and to buy some land up in Northern California. And little by little, they share 13 cars. They have 7 washing machines. They have 6 common kitchens, and they live together. They split the food, they grow their own food, and they made it work. Because had they been on their own at $9,000 a year through Social Security, they would have been living in a tent. You and I both know that. You should see that community is absolutely gorgeous, and they keep buying acreage of land. They all own the land, so they'll buy more and more acreages, which is very similar to what happened with Michael Singer, the author of The Untethered Soul and The Surrender Experiment. Excuse me, my throat is killing me. Where he was broke, he was a hippie. He was getting his master's. He's just finished his master's. He was trying to figure out if he wanted to get his PhD. Wasn't sure about that. He was meditating, and he bought a little plot of land, and he started his company called Love Construction just for the fuck of it, because he built his own little kind of like A-frame house, and people loved it. And then, will you build me one? And he just said, okay, well, okay, fine. And before you knew it, he became a billionaire. Not because he wanted to, but because he just kept surrendering to people saying, could you do this? Could you try this? And he kept saying, shit, I really would rather meditate and be left the fuck alone, but yeah, sure, I'll do it, because apparently the universe wants me to do this, so I'm going to do this. And those opportunities snowballed into opportunities after opportunities. But what happened is he created community. So there's 2 communities in Alachua, Florida. One is his community, which is very Buddhist based. And then there's the Ishkan community, where they have cows. It's Krishna. It's Hindu. It's more Hinduism based religion, with a Prabhupada who founded these temples all over the world. Actually, in a very short window of time, I think it was like 10 years. In 10 years, he was all over the world, which is amazing. And so we have to look at, how can we become supportive of each other so that you're not working at Walmart at the age of 100 or 75 or 90? Because clearly the government doesn't give one fuck. They'd rather send that money for all kinds of other reasons. I had a client, an ex-client, who was talking shit to me last year about OAC, right? Go, oh, you know, and I'm like, no, I know what I'm saying. And he kept, first of all, I'm a psychic. I knew she was full of shit. Do you know that if you look at pictures of OAC 5 years ago to the pictures of her face today, you will see a completely different woman? That woman has been bought and bought and bought so many times, it's actually marked her face. It's like the picture of Dorian Gray. And it's not just her. It's pretty much damn near all of them, okay? So we have to ask ourselves, what does the new earth look like? There's a difference between new earth and new world order. Those are completely different things. And we have to recognize that. New world order is what the 1% wants to do. New earth is what we want to experience. And the interesting thing is, everyone's invited that's not an asshole, right? I don't care if you're a billionaire, just don't be an asshole about it. But the frequency of the consciousness that goes with the new earth community, us as tribesmen and tribeswomen, doesn't match the new world order. It's not a frequency match. You see, this is the magic of us not fighting fire with fire. We don't even fight. We step above. It's not even Goliath and David and Goliath. What it is I'm on 7th dimension consciousness. You're in 3D. If I throw a rock at you, it's going to hit you in the face. We're done. Game over. And I'm not going to throw you a rock because I'm in 7D. I can't even reach you. You can't even see me. So when you go into the consciousness of going as the highest level of your dimension, recollection of your origin, you win. You win because you're hacking out of your brain. And a brain that you took, this avatar that you took over to have this incarnation in 3D, to volunteer for this particular time in history, in human history. The kinds of awakenings that we're going through throughout the world in many little pockets and portals, like Joan of Arc's of the world, Paramanta Yogananda. People like that were being born and they were coming in and dying and coming in and dying. Like Yeshua, like Mary of Magdalena, like Mother Mary, like Krishna, like Radha. I could go on and on, like Buddha, Siddhartha, and others whose name we will never know, sadly. However, we've never had that many Buddhas walking the planet, or Yeshuas, or Mary of Magdalenas, never before, and they are coming in. They are being born right now as we speak, and many of you are of that ilk, of that fractal light, of that Christ-like. It's in you, but you have to activate it. You have to hack out of your own brain, which is go see the Matrix all over again with what you now understand, as opposed to what you thought was real when you first saw the movies, right? It's exciting. Yeah, there is no fight. The fight is already won. Exactly. And all you have to do is show up, living through love and light or control. I'm going to tell you something about love and light, okay? How do I put this? There's certain things that people say in the New Age community that have embittered me to certain things. I'm going to be honest with you. One is, love and light. No, it's love and the fractal light of awakening. I feel as if we need to revamp and reignite those words from our own ancient wisdoms. And because it has been, diluted and bastardized. Honestly, there are a lot of people who are on the edge of waking up, and this love and light bullshit, like literally that the way people put it together. Oh, love and light, I love you. Let me get a cappuccino. Let me go to Starbucks and stand in line. And it's like, wait, hang on, Starbucks, really? Do you know even the CEO of Starbucks? Do you know how he stole that company from the guys who formed the company? Forget all the other shit. No, forget all that. Everything you know of why it was boycotted. Do you know how he stole that company from the guys in Seattle? Do you even know? And that alone should turn you off to giving that man a fucking dime, another dime, or his little stockholders. It's actually disgusting. And I read the book, And I was in shock going, wait, hang on. He was from New York. He goes to Seattle. He wants to learn about coffee. And before he ousts them, and they go back to Pete's Coffee, the guy who taught him how to roast coffee. And they go back to the guy, and the guy's like old Dutch and he's dying. And they buy Pete's Coffee out of him. The guys who own Pete's Coffee today were the guys who originated Starbucks, stolen by that CEO. I forgot his name because when people piss me off, I don't remember their name, to be honest, but you can look it up. True agape love and pure light of truth from source. Beautiful. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you for being such a good sport, connecting to source and each other. And we have to do this. We have to know that it's about, so agape is unconditional source love. Beautiful, Amanda. Thank you for adding to this. I'm going to tell you about sabotaging minds. I'm going to tell you a story. It's a parable. So close your eyes and listen. And I want to ask you, and be honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself. This is not the time. And don't be ashamed to the answer. The mark of a person who procrastinates or sabotages will do something that one who wins would never do. There is a $10 million contract in New York City. And you just got the call. It's 9 a.m. It's 9 p.m. It's 9 p.m. on a Sunday. You have to be at the office by 11 a.m. the following day. And so you don't fuck around. You go to the airport and you find out what plane is taking. I don't give a fuck. It's a red eye. I don't give a shit. I'm going. You got your briefcase. That's it. And you get on that fucking plane. And you're there by around, I'd say, because there's a stopover. And you don't fuck around. There's a stopover. You find out where the gate is. You don't even leave. You're like right there. You're like, oh God, I wish I could have coffee. And you're like, no, I can't miss this plane. Fuck this. I'm just going to stay right here. It's gate 33. I'm staying right here. Gate 33, they open at 6 a.m. You get on the flight. You arrive at the airport by 9 a.m. And by 10 a.m., you're at the building. And you're going up the elevator and you're signing the contract. That's a winner. That's a person that will not fuck up. They won't go. They will be hyper focused on the goal to get on the plane, to stay by the gate at a layover and not fuck it up. Not, in other words, not missing the plane. And they're going to be there to sign that $10 million contract. They will be there. The person that procrastinates, is apathetic, wants to lose unconsciously, is first of all going to fuck around, pack some shit, figure out what they're going to wear. The person that does that is going to get on maybe on the first plane. Maybe he won't even miss it. But on the layover, he'll go and get a lunch or something to eat. And he'll miss the connecting flight and he will fuck up the deal. Which person are you? And don't answer the question on the live. Answer it to yourself. Which person are you? Because that kind of honesty is shadow work. It's to say, have I sabotaged things? I think we can all say we've all sabotaged things as we grew up, as we grew into adulthood, into situations. I'll give you an example. Writing a book and not finishing it because no one will ever read it. My voice is not important. No one listens to me. I don't matter. That kind of self-defeatist attitude is actually almost insulting to source, because do you really think you'd be here if you were not important? And I'm not saying that to kiss your ass, by the way. Have no mistake. We have people here on this planet who all have their role to play. Some of us kick down the doors. Some of you coax the door open. Some of you actually dissolve the door with your thoughts. We're all important. We all have our roles to play. And how we play it is not to be judged, really. As long as we do it from a place of integrity, honesty, and the question always uppermost in our mind, how is it good for me, but not just for me, but for the collective? Is the book I'm writing good for the collective? I remember doing a series of art. I was commissioned to do some erotic work, some art, right? In a more of 50 Shades of Grey type of shit, okay? And I did it. And then I looked at it and I go, do I really want this to survive? Do I really want this to go into the right hand or the wrong hands or this hands or that? Do you know I destroyed the work? Not because I was ashamed, but I thought to myself, is this good? Is this helpful? Is this healing? And the answers were no, no, no. And so I destroyed the work. Not because it wasn't good. I mean, it was good enough. Let's put it that way. But I was not going to have it. I've even done short stories where I thought, is this, I know what I'm trying to say, but how will the collective see this work? Will they see it in the right light? And the answer was no. And so I destroyed it. So, but most of the work I have, I got work from when I was 10 years old. So it's not like I fucking destroy my work. It's that I'll look at something I've created and I went, it's something I needed to purge. It's something that is a shadow of mine. And I need to destroy it because it should never be in the hands of this and that. It's not good enough. It's not kind enough. It's not loving. It will bring absolutely no benefit to anyone. If anything, it'll just bring confusion, nothing more. So that is a problem. I bet it was good, but just not understood in the right way. There's certain things that we shouldn't, we shouldn't allow, like when I think of Marquis de Sade, right? And I talk about it here and there in the lives because, when you go from 50 Shades of Grey, when I looked at the books of 50, believe me, I read them and it was it was like fucking chewing on broken glass. But I did read the books, all three, okay? Because I wanted to understand the psychology. Why was it going viral? Especially now that I understand about the alphabet government channels and how they manipulate shit. I saw young girls whose first true erotic work wasn't Anais Nin or some other writers, which I can't think of right now, because Anais Nin was my person. I saw girls who were reading Cinderella gets her ass kicked and loved it. I actually did a vlog on that. No, it was a blog. And it's funny, but it's not funny, actually. When a 20-year-old, a 19-year-old, an 18-year-old is being exposed to something that she's not quite ready for, you need to have like basic, what they call vanilla sex, and tantric sex before you even consider exploring that. Some people shouldn't explore it at all because it's not for them. I've explored pretty much, you'd be shocked, a lot of things. As long as it wasn't deviant and harm people, I've explored it, okay? To me, harming people is like, I'm not looking at that. But to me, those series of books, though I admire the writer for kicking ass and marketing the shit out of it, and she's to the scale of like, I think it's like $500 million or something like that. I would never put anyone down. But Marquis de Sade, I'm not saying let's go burn books, but I'm like, that is a difficult series of stories that he wrote. And when you read it, you realize, holy fuck, he's really manipulating the mind to do other things that are very deviantly sexual, which is not good. It's not healthy for anyone. And these are things that we're not teaching our young people. We're not protecting them, meaning we're not giving them the 411 on tantric sexuality and sensuality, the spiritual connection of having a lover and what that means, the concept of spiritual STD, for example, that should be taught, okay? Not are you a boy or a girl and what are your pronouns? I'm sorry if I lose you because you don't think I'm politically correct, but we are here now because we are not being honest about what kids and teenagers need. And they need to know that it's okay to be gay. It's okay to be bisexual. It's okay to be straight. It's okay to be whatever the fuck you want. But if there's any problems and there are any shadows in that, talk to me. Let's go through it so that you don't like come out of it in a confused or deviant or worse off deviant state of mind. And boundaries are about a young person saying, I'm not ready for that experience. And that's it. That's the end of it. And we're not doing that. We're pushing young people and teenagers to go into realms they shouldn't be going. They're not ready. I think you understand that. I think anybody can. Why would anybody argue that point? And so if you look at my lives when I talk about it, this is why I'm going to go on Rumble, because I want to fucking tell you the 411 on this shit, because I'm sick and tired of like talking in code and not saying the full sentence and using the word grape and unalivened. And I'm sick of that shit. And I don't want to do it anymore. You know what I mean? And I think that's probably why my throat chakra for the last month has been hurting, because I'm being muzzled. Your book Recall was amazing, spicy yet written with love. Intention was not dark. Absolutely. I appreciate that. So my book Recall, it was interesting because, thank you, Beth. I can't thank you enough. I feel like crying with gratitude. If you read my book Recall, there are some pretty hard scenes. Okay, very hard. One of them is a threesome, and the other one is a sacrifice. Okay, it's completely opposite end of the book. Don't freak out. It's not connected. But my point is, I sat with that for a while, going, why is this relevant? How is this relevant? How will it help women, or God forbid men? Like my twin read that book in like 3 days, and I was like, and the sacrifice. Why is that relevant? Why is this important? Well, first of all, it did happen, so I had to write it, but I could have not written it in the book. I could have left it out, but I could not. Because in the ancient world, pretty much every country was stained by that. And I didn't know that in 2012 when I originally wrote the manuscript. It was until later when I read Graham Hancock and I read David Icke, and I was reading and listening to Freddie Silver and all these guys, and my twin. I hadn't been in union with my twin yet. And I realized that the Anunnaki had taught us these horrible things, like war and human, sacrifice. Yeah. And I had read, I exposed it in the book years before. I was aware of it, but not really. It wasn't something that was like in my mind. But then when I sat with my twin, I was in union with my twin, I was being exposed to a lot of heavy shit. And he was like, yeah, they do that. And they do that for what? And I'm like, okay, let's watch this show on David Icke talking about why. What are they doing to the root chakra? And why are they sucking up the energy from the root chakra? What are they doing with that energy? And who's they? And that's when it hit me that the God of the Old Testament was an Anunnaki. I was like, okay. And pretty much everyone in the spiritual community that has a half a brain knows this. It's not even a conversation. You know, the only ones are the ones that are giving you the spiritual cliff notes of the Ken and Barbie story. Most of us are hardcore. Why? Because we've been in the dark night of the soul, and we've been through many weird, dark energies in past lives. One of the people that I actually admire, to be honest, and I'm shocked to say this to you, because for a long time I didn't like her. I think she's brilliant, though, is Teal Swan. And and the reason why I'm telling you about Teal Swan is because she had a whole interview with Regina Meredith. Look it up. I did not like her documentary at all. I thought it was not as intense as it could have been. But when I listened to Teal Swan say that she'd gone through MK Ultra, all kinds of abuses and this and that, and she literally, as a teenage girl, walked out of that solution, literally was a runaway kid, ran away from that situation, and fucking did a 180 and recalibrated herself and rebuilt herself from the ground up from that kind of trauma. You've got to fucking give standing ovation to someone like that. Because some people never come out of it, ever. They're never right after that, ever. Can you blame them? But there was something about her that saw it from the eyes of a witness. And she talks about it. You may want to look at that interview. It's a very important interview because it is so on the mark of what we've all gone through in many incarnations, which is brainwashing. It's fascinating. And so when you're thinking you're going crazy as you're coming to something that's come to you, maybe it's your own download, and you want to have some really close starseed buddies. It's time. You don't have time to have a bimbo as your girlfriend or boyfriend. You need some good friends, smart friends. Yeah, some conspiracy theorists that aren't cuckoo. There's some that are cuckoo, let's be honest, but there are a lot of us who've been excused, including David Icke, one of the most brilliant men on the planet. Each of his books is about 600 pages long. And he's got more to say. It's almost like, oh, fuck, or else it'll be 1,000 pages long. And all of it is relevant. None of it is fluffy shit to just fill up the pages. It's real shit. It's intense content. And you're doing it, my friend. You're fucking doing it. You're hacking out of your brain. You're actually recalibrating yourself from the brainwashing from many incarnations. And you are reclaiming your truth. And you can't play small. And you can, and yeah, you're gonna say, "Am I going crazy? I feel like I'm going crazy." Yeah, because now the thinking cap that you have on, the downloads, your crown chakra being activated, and the ascension codes being downgraded. You know, like they're you know, like your phone. You know how you plug in your phone, and in the morning it says you've been upgraded to 18.2 on your iPhone, whatever, right? And well, that's what's happening to you. And so you're going to feel like you're going more and more crazy because you're around people who clearly are on another plane. You're like, what the fuck? I'm around people who have no fucking clue. I might as well be speaking Chinese or ancient Greek or Aramaic. And so that's why you have to be intense and focused on finding your team, your tribe. You have to. And if you don't, you're going to be alone. Does that make sense? You're going to be alone. Reprogramming and awakening. It's frustrating. Of course it's frustrating. It's absolutely frustrating. Every word. Thank you, my love. So does that make sense? So I'm offering you an invitation to my Starseed Awakening. It's a dead group. I'm going to be honest. A lot of these people aren't talking. Hopefully you can bring some fucking life into it. I can't babysit people. I'm being very, but it's there. It's there. It's a launching pad for you guys, okay? I have another group, which I do with Andromeda, and we're a little more, I'm going to be honest, we're a little more careful, and it is a group where we teach classes, just so you know, right? We teach various classes, and we're about to can some classes probably towards the end of the year. The guided meditation, I'm going to have to charge, and I hate doing it, but I've been doing a lot of guided meditations for free. But so follow me on YouTube, follow me on Rumble, and if you want to, the Starseed Awakening is completely free. Don't even worry about it. I'll put you in. Just give me your phone number. Make sure you have WhatsApp. You're good to go. And you can start sharing some concepts. Share links, share this, share that. I may be MIA for a week, and then I'll see something pop up that you might share, and I'll think it's cool, and I'll respond. I'll sometimes share links. I'll share my lives, but I'll share links on completely different things. Go, your thoughts. I'll throw in thoughts, question mark, because that's about all I have time for. And hopefully it starts to get dialogue. And we've been known in my other group where we just go. We just fucking flow. We're like going back and forth. Like it's incredibly fast how we share information. And how we share thoughts, voice notes, fucking quotes, and more links, more shit, and it's flying back and forth. If that's your thing, then help me create it in the Starseed Awakening, because I'm shocked. It's like healing isn't a silent project, meaning when you are in a group and you've been asking to be in a group, get involved. Don't be sitting on the sidelines. Open your fucking voice and say something. Anything. I don't care if you, oh my God, look, I saw this puppy. It's so cute. Start something. Start a conversation. And people are not doing that. And yet then, and here's the thing. This is what I mean by, do you want to win or don't you? Because if you want to be in a group, then it is your responsibility to be part of the group, to bring something in. If I invited you to a potluck, and I invited 10 women to my potluck and 5 men, and only one person bought a baguette, we're kind of fucked, right? We're not eating because there's no food. So it's similar to the conversation. We need activity. And what I'm going to say to you is the thing about the journey of the awakening is that people have been told, shown, not just in this incarnation, that they don't matter. I'm not putting these people down. Don't get me wrong. This is not to, it's to say that they are afraid to get involved. They are afraid that if they say something, it'll be wrong. And in our groups, both groups, I just told you, the other group, we were talking about politics and none of us fucking agreed on anyone, but we all got along about it. No one was fucking losing their minds and threatening to leave the group. No one, okay? But I think what happens with the training on social media of, grape and unaliven and words like that, and to be politically correct and all, people are afraid to offend. Now, I've had situations where people said shit that was offensive. Don't get me wrong. It did happen, because it's going to happen. And I would have private phone calls and go, tell me what's going on. And it wasn't just to threaten them. It's just, let's work it out. I love you. I love your energy. What are you kidding? And I remember that happened a couple times where two women, because we have people from different parts of the world, different races, culture, this, that. People are married to Muslim men. People aren't. People are Christian. You get the picture. And somebody had said something about immigrants, and this whole conversation of immigrants. And these two women were really, it hurt their feelings, okay? Because they come just like me. We're immigrants. We're all are. And I had private conversations with both those women to soften the edges for them, and to kind of let people know, make sure you finish your fucking thoughts. Like, if you're going to say something that's going to be volatile, make sure at least you articulate your entire fucking point, so that we can at least, make it work. And there's a point where you're going to get offended. I'm sorry. Or you're going to say something that might offend someone. I'm sorry. And it happens. And me and Andromeda are there to make sure that you guys still get along at the end of that thing. It's called getting along. It's called Ubuntu. It's called, I hear you, but this person's not, can we kind of figure this out? And in our group, there are people that'll say, I need to step out. I'm fucking being blasted by the universe. I'm exhausted. I can't do this right now. And we don't remove them. They come back in when they're ready. If we feel like there's silence, like there's certain people, if the silence is long, I'll actually reach out to them personally if I have their personal phone number and say, listen, I'm worried about you. Like, are you okay? Because what happens, especially with the divine masculine, in particular men, and this is something women don't understand, which I didn't understand either, don't get me wrong, I had to learn that, is that when men are really getting their asses kicked, they go silent, they go dark. And many women will think, oh, he's got a new girlfriend. I'm like, no, he's going through a massive depression from the 9 of Swords, 10 of Swords, 8 of Swords. Oh my God, no, it's bad. So I want you to know that we are here to create the communities, but our hope in creating these communities is that you will create your own. You'll have your own offshoot. Does that make sense? Which is normal, which you should. Downloaded WhatsApp, I'll join. Oh, beautiful. That is so cool. So I need you guys, so I need you to feel free to hit me up on my TikTok messaging. Like, hit me up, all of you. Just give me your phone numbers. I'll add you on. Give me your real name. Like, truth be told, tell me your name. And I'll say, hey, Alice, please welcome Alice. And everyone will jump in going, hey, welcome Alice, or whatever the hell your name is, right? And that's going to show you, okay, what's possible. I think that's the benefit of our WhatsApp groups, is it's going to show you what's possible, what you can co-create. And I think it's beautiful. And we are looking for sacred divine masculines in the Starseed Awakening group. We don't have any. I'm going to be blunt. Okay, we had one guy who was a broken masculine who said something. Look, I'm just going to be blunt. There are people, we all need to know one thing. We need to agree on all of this. This is the only thing you need to agree on with us. You agree that the more you know, the less you know. If you're good with that, we're good. Because I'm learning from clients. Andromeda is learning. We're all learning. And the more we know, the less we know. The more we know, the more we realize, oh my God, I didn't fucking know that 10 years ago. What was wrong with me? It's like self-judgment. But if we can agree with that, because the minute we hear somebody saying, oh yeah, I don't need guidance. Yeah, I know everything. Yeah, no, I'm fully healed. When we hear the word fully healed, we're like, okay, let's see what's coming next. And we do try to keep these groups really clean from egoic bullshit like that. We will not cater to that kind of toxic arrogance because it will stain the group. Does that make sense? But aside from that, if you can just remember, the more you know, the less you know, we're good to go because we're all equals in the group. There's no hierarchy. Think of it as a round table discussion. No one knows more. And we're all here to learn and to hear, to share. No, don't give me your phone number like here. Just please. Oh my God. Okay, hang on. Let me do a screen. No, don't give me your phone number like here. Just please. Oh my God. Okay, hang on. Let me do a screenshot. Hang on. Let me see. Okay, I will. Okay, delete that. Damn it. Anyway, just DM me. Okay, DM me, and I will. DM me your number, please. I'm gonna try to put you in, and DM me because I need your real name as well, if you don't mind. Okay. I'm not sure if that's your real name. I'm thinking it is, but maybe not. Any other questions or comments? I'm really excited. Message you. Okay, great. Anybody else wants to message me? Feel free. I don't want you to be alone. You know? Oh, do you have time, Andromeda, to talk? Because I just got a strike again from TikTok and they're just fucking with me left and right. It's insane. But anyway, you want to talk about the groups or anything else? Or are you getting ready for anything else? Are you up for that? Here, I'm going to invite you and you can tell me if you want to join. So this is Andromeda Flame, and we work together on our spiritual journey. And she's an amazing light. Beth. All right, my love.
Good
So
morning.
we, I don't know how long you've listened. Good morning. How long you've listened, but
Yeah,
um, go ahead and just talk about whatever. I just have one of my things banned, and we had a live meet in Andromeda a week ago, which I have to like still edit. It's a lot. They fucked with the sound. It repeats, echoes. Then they shut down our live. Remember, we were saying absolutely nothing crazy. So now I can't even upload that onto the TikTok. I'm gonna have to, just on the side note, Andromeda, I'm gonna have to upload it on YouTube and Rumble because TikTok is watching, and I'm not sure what this is about. But anyway, go ahead and go ahead and share your thoughts on the groups and the and whatever you want to share.
yeah. So that I'll say this very carefully.
Yeah.
That particular live, we were talking about declassified documents, basically, and
Yes.
yeah, it was quite something. But what that means is that we're telling the truth,
Yeah.
and in the groups, essentially we've tried to create a safe space for people who are exploring their spiritual journey, exploring their starseed origins, exploring the millions of ways in which these journeys affect your life. What is reality? What is life anyway? All of these questions. The starseed group is more for people who are at the beginning stages of their exploration. The other group is it is a bit more esoteric. I think it would blow some people's mind completely, the kind of, the conversations that we have, the content that we share. So these groups are important. One of the downloads I had yesterday, if you remember, Tony, was about community.
Yes.
And when we transition, out of our current body, we have a life review.
Yeah.
And one of the aspects of the most recent, and I don't really know what they mean by recent, because their idea of time is completely different to ours.
Yeah.
But they've said that life on this planet is getting harder.
Yeah.
And it's getting harder because we no longer have the protection of community.
Yes.
And that's very deliberate. When communities were solid, when they were cohesive, people didn't have to worry about feeding their kids. They didn't have to worry about keeping a roof over their heads because there was a community
Yeah.
surrounding them, protecting them. And over the last few hundred years, those communities have been broken down. The ethos of society has been individualism. Okay, but let's look at it from a spiritual perspective. It's not just individualism. Yes, we are all individuals. We have individual missions. We have individual wounds, but we are all connected. What they have been promoting through the breakdown of societies, through the breakdown of community, through the breakdown of communication, is they have been promoting, they have been consolidating separation consciousness.
Yeah.
And in doing so, they are attempting to stop the ascension.
Yeah.
Because as well as releasing fear, as well as excavating your past lives, becoming a beacon of love, unconditional love and forgiveness, one of the essential ingredients in the ascension, our own ascension, but also the ascension of the planet, is unity consciousness. Unity consciousness, Christ consciousness. When you start to understand that we are all connected, that sometimes when you're feeling anxious or you're in despair, it's because there is a collective cry that you are feeling as an empath, as a spiritually connected being. So community is protective. And as we live in an age where we have the ability to build communities, not physical communities, but online communities, this is our way of doing it.
Right.
And it's a beautiful demonstration of what is reality. And David Icke talks about what is reality.
Yeah.
Because reality has shifted.
Right.
Right?
Right.
You and I, Tony, have never physically met.
No.
And yet it feels as if we have.
I know, is that wild?
Yeah.
But that's why the World Wide Web was created. There was this nefarious aspect to it, right? Secret government bullshit, right? But ultimately, they never thought it would bring us together. And so, as we lost our community, it's funny because I remember saying that at Facebook. People were talking shit about Facebook, and I said, "Well, it's kind of like bringing us back to the bonfires, where we would sit around and talk and share stories." And so, in a way, that's what's happening. But what's happening even more intensely, in my opinion, is that when I say the starseed tribes are gathering, not only are we gathering on the internet, but we're making plans to meet each other physically. A lot of us are. We're like, yeah, no, hang on. Do you want to live in Ireland? Yeah, I want to live in Ireland. Okay, let's do it. Or like we have friends in Norway. We have people all over the world that in Europe going, hey, it's just an hour away on a plane ride from France. So we're already planning to be together because we know how much we are needed. And whatever country you're attracted to, it's like you're a quartz crystal energetic field of influencing, just like Stonehenge is stones of massive influence. This is why, right? I mean, I could go on and on, but you get what I'm saying. It's like, so we're being attracted to something. Yeah, I can't wait to meet you too.
Yeah, me either. Yeah.
It's something that's, in other words, it's almost like we're quartz crystal on a grid and we're being placed in new places that we feel hungry to be, right? And so some of us, and this is why you're seeing a lot of spiritualists being nomadic right now, right? Because they need to be in Portugal, they need to be in California, then they need to be here, then they need to do, it's a pain in the ass to be a nomad, don't get me wrong. But we're spiritually nomads. We go from one planet to another incarnation, so it's part of our thing. But I feel as if the great gathering is for the final push of energy. And cynicism has no place as an energy. You cannot be cynical. And unfortunately, some of us are trying to help those who are, awakened to some level, but the cynicism is the final calcification that needs to be removed through an energetic upgrade. Because we are all quartz crystals. Actually, we really have. We carry crystals in our bodies, water crystal and so forth. So I feel like when we move into these communities, we can invite people who are still in the cynical kind of like, well, show me the data and that kind of mentality. And once they come into these communities of love, of conflict resolution, of justice, of honesty, integrity, and of abundance. And how does abundance look? Well, it doesn't look like going to Gucci, does it? It looks like having a vegetable garden and everyone smiling and harvesting, canning, apothecaries, someone's sick, things of that nature, right? And it's interesting how that is, we're going back to, I was watching a movie with Juliette Binoche where they're using copper rods in the ground in the 1800s to make sure the vegetables grow in abundance. Why did we lose that? Why aren't farmers doing that? And we're learning all the old ways, the ways that brought ease and abundance in our harvest, in our foods, in the way we also would take. I mean, if you were eating meat, there was a way people took an animal down before they butchered it. There was a way. I'm not, believe me, I don't support it, but if you're going to do it, fucking do it correctly. And we're getting back to some of these incredible ancient wisdoms. So it's not New Age. The New Age was another co-op. It was another psyop move, in my opinion. Share your thoughts, my love.
Yeah, I think the New Age movement again promoted separation consciousness, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of toxicity within the New Age community. And I'm not just talking about like some of the predatory behavior that there has been within New Age spirituality, but also there is a concentration on like material wealth, right? So when these people talk about abundance, they are talking about the Birkin bag. They are talking about the Christian Louboutin. They are talking about the Ferrari. They're not talking about spiritual abundance, wisdom, enlightenment, a vegetable garden, a community, right? And more than that. For example, this idea that you're not responsible for how you make others feel.
Yeah.
Very prevalent in the New Age community and completely negates this idea that we are all connected. And if you're being a shit to someone, then you need to take responsibility for your behavior.
Right.
Right? Now, there are aspects of New Age spirituality which have allowed information to become more accessible.
Yeah.
And that's to be welcomed. Particularly when it comes to, say, ancient Vedic wisdom. But the fact is that we live in a technological age where all of this information is at our fingertips, should we wish to access it. And we don't need the toxicity of New Age spirituality, where you're being told that, you're not responsible for how you make other people feel, and abundance looks like a Ferrari. And all you have to do is sit there and chant Om, and your karma will be cleared. Doesn't work like that, right? Yeah. You are accountable for your behavior. Remember, we all have free will, right? Yeah. And free will is it's a misunderstood concept. The free will we have is to decide how we walk in our lives.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, it's not, say, free will to be an absolute arsehole one day and a nice person the next. It's to make a decision that you are going to walk in the light. That is the free will that we are given.
Yeah.
And this is not what the New Age spirituality has taught. Apart from which, how many of these so-called New Age spiritualists have gone back to Catholicism?
They ran.
Right?
They knocked over the chairs.
The New Age thing was all skin deep.
Exactly.
Right?
There was go ahead.
And also, let's not forget what has been born out of New Age spirituality. And I can't say it here because we'll get shut down. But what we were talking about before, okay, on that live, right? Some declassified documents expose that, and that was born out of New Age spirituality.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we have to realize that anything that goes viral, you have to second get, why is it viral? Why is it suddenly viral? Why is it suddenly okay to do a lot of the things that the woke are doing? Why is it okay? Why is it that the people I respect are all talking about awakened and awoke are two different concepts of spirituality? And that there's, again, more psyop shit going on. And why is some of this shit happening to this level of happening? Why are children being targeted? I remember when the lockdown was happening in California, there was a doctor called Rashid Buttar who died actually mysteriously. I'll just say that he was he had his own clinic in Ventura County, and him and Renette Cinnamon, who was the mayor of Nevada City, were talking about the damage of masking little kids going into classrooms, and just the psychology behind masking. Now, what is the most important thing that happens? I've said this before, and you can vouch for me, right? Hyperbaric chambers are used to heal people who've had some very serious, surgeries due to cancer or whatever. Oxygen, in other words, oxygen, a blast of oxygen. In fact, there's drops you can buy called oxygen. If you guys are serious, let me know and I'll get you the actual name. My twin turned me onto the oxygen drops to imbue you with more oxygen. What was the very thing they were taking away from pregnant women, masking them? Oxygen. But they had us standing in line to get to a plane. I've talked about it before, and I apologize, but just for you guys who don't know me, they were standing in line 6 feet apart, but then you get on the plane and sit your ass down next to people with their elbows in your ribs. That's psyop. And they were high-fiving going, I can't believe these people are going for it. I mean, I can only, I would have been a fly on the wall. I would have given anything to be a fly on the wall as to the bets that were going on in these agencies while they were rolling out this kind of bullshit. You know what I mean? What are your thoughts? I mean, oxygen, right? Oxygen is important.
It is important, but so is the ability to speak, right?
Yeah.
So is and remember, when I say speak, what I misspoke. What I actually mean is express.
Yeah.
And we express in all sorts of ways. We express through our facial expressions. We express through smiling. We express through speaking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we express through our eyes. And all of these forms of expression are throat chakra. What they realized is that they weren't quite getting there, right? With attacking the lower chakras.
Yes.
Okay. So they've had to go up, right? The next one's going to be the third eye. Okay.
Yeah.
They've effectively attacked our heart chakra.
Exactly.
Okay. By telling us that love is dangerous, by setting up, by turning the word relationship into dating. When the hell did that happen, right? Or by creating dating apps, okay, where you are matched by very often AI.
Yeah.
Okay, to mechanize love, to take love, to take the heart chakra out of the equation.
Yeah.
And as we go up the chakras, the next one is going to be the third eye.
Yeah.
So anybody who is intuitive, anybody who is getting downloads, anybody who is getting visions,
Yeah.
right, that is going to be stopped. And to an extent, that is already happening, right?
Well, I mean, let's not forget fluoride. that was it. I mean, when my mom was pregnant with my brother, my father thought it was a great idea to give her fluoride pills while she was pregnant. So the calcification was a done deal.
Yeah. Yeah. And the whole, I mean, I just think there's a big throat chakra thing going on at the moment.
Yeah.
I think the whole demure thing as well, right?
Yeah.
You know, what do they mean by demure? They don't mean, right, a sophisticated woman. They mean a silent woman.
Exactly. Or else they would say chic. Yeah, I'm
In
being
facial
chic.
shape. Yeah.
I'm being chic. I'm being elegant. I'm being. I'm channeling Audrey Hepburn, right? I'm channeling, those women from the 1960s and 70s. I'm channeling my energy, my goddess energy. But what I find interesting is that within the realms, they have to keep a certain amount of freedom for us to express each other. I know we sound like we might be saying, oh, the freedom of speech, the freedom of speech. But do you realize this is why they're getting away with it in Afghanistan and other places to completely muzzle women, for example, and people in general? But there is a spiritual law. I hope you know that. There, where they can't muzzle all of us for either too long, or they can't drape the muzzling cloth across the planet all at once. It's not allowed. There's a spiritual law of there must be free will needs to be expressed. And if you, as a one percenter working with other nefarious entities, have decided that you're going to take the whole planet and muzzle it, you've just broken a spiritual code, which is beyond 3D. Okay, it's beyond the codes of 3D. And so there is by design pockets of freedom to speak here and there, right? For a certain amount of time. But what happened with the lockdown, which was interesting, is that they went too far. And that's why the awakening is going even faster. And I really believe I'm getting this download, to be honest with you, Andromeda, is I'm getting this download that what they did during that pocket of time went too far. And there was so much harm done that now it's sped up the awakening and the ascension to levels I think is shocking them. That's why they're panicking. Does that make sense? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I keep on being shown a scene from The Handmaid's Tale, okay, where one of the things they do to people when they've captured them, or when they're taking them to a facility, is they place like a leather muzzle on them. Now, this cannot happen to us without our consent, and this is very important.
Yeah.
But non-consent has to be explicit. If you stay silent, if you ignore what's going on, you have consented through your silence.
Exactly. Consent by apathy.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just, I'm just going to bring all my energies. I was watching somebody who's got over 100 and I'd say 150,000 followers, and she's a spiritualist. And again, I never mention names because I'm not here to bully anyone, but she said, we don't talk about this. And, some of us are meant to just hold sacred space. Well, dude, unless you're levitating off the ground, which there are people actually on the planet right now who do, just so you know, excuse me, and who are being silent because they're doing a massive work to keep the planet from imploding and to keep all of us at a certain level of integrity, if you will, right? And so they do this. You'll never meet them. I'll never meet them. Does that make sense? So when we have a platform, we were handed the baton by the wise ones, the ones of the light, the shining ones, as Freddie Silva calls them, the shining ones. And the shining ones have entrusted us to speak with our free. Now, the free will is a double-edged sword, because fear, if you decide to cling to your fear over your integrity, there's an old saying, I'd rather, die on my feet than on my knees. And I think that takes, it takes courage. But at the same time, we did not volunteer to be silent or to live in fear. Many of us came here and said, I am so sick of fucking this, this goddamn hamster wheel of incarnations where I keep having amnesia, and then I remember something, and then I start remembering that I'm around assholes that are going to subjugate me or burn me at the stakes or whatever. I'm done with that shit. I want to be completely free and in the new earth. I want this ascension. I don't want to be subjugated by anyone that has this monkey mentality ever again. So I think that this is why the community is going to be so important for us to support each other, because sometimes you get tired And when you get tired, you need someone to say, it's okay, I got you. I got you. It's okay to be depressed. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to think, will we ever get there? Are we there yet? When the fuck are we going to get there? Like, I just want to go home now. And there are moments like that for all of us as starseeds. Don't get me going on that. This is completely normal. We get drained. But that's why community is going to be at the uppermost. It should be at the uppermost of your focus as you go through the ascension. You can't do it alone. That's actually the whole point. No one can, right? What do you think on that?
No, I agree. I mean, I went through my big dark night of the soul alone, and I would not recommend it. I would not recommend it to anyone.
Yeah.
We did not come here to be silent. Beth said they cannot force us. Mm-hmm. That is true, but you need to be explicit in your non-consent. And that actually means saying, I do not consent.
Yes.
I do not consent to these energies entering my physical body, entering my ethereal field, entering my aura. I do not consent. And if you explicitly, because even these entities, they are still bound by certain spiritual laws. And that includes if they're going to do something to you, they have to warn you first. Or the warnings are likely to be pretty subtle. And most people won't get them.
Yeah.
So some of the movies that have come out, for example, some of the events that have happened on the planet, right?
Yeah.
If you stay silent or you watch these and you allow that fear to creep in, you're effectively consenting. So you need to look at everything that goes on, every movie that you see. I'm not saying don't watch these movies, right? But watch them through the lens of a spiritually awake being, and say, okay, what is the message here? What are they telling us?
Yeah.
And who is telling me this? Right? There was that movie that the Obamas were involved in, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, leave the world behind. Yeah, I'm just going to say because it's a joke. Because everyone was like, I saw people doing lives on TikToks that went on for hours and then went on for months. Oh, what does it mean? They're warning us. They really care about us. Dude, they just they basically seeded you with fear. They didn't give you an answer. They did a collective brainwashing and seeding through a movie that had absolutely nothing good to say to you except be afraid. Right? Yeah. With the scenes of the Teslas and all this and that and the other, and it went on and on and on. It's like, it's insane shit. It's like, listen, here's the thing. I don't give a fuck about I don't care about your Tesla. I'd rather be in a horse and buggy, to be honest. It's like, do you think that's a threat to me? No, I'd like to travel like John Lennon was saying. Imagine, there's no borders, there's no passports, what the fuck are we doing? It's like, why do I have to prove to you who I am? By the way, what businesses of yours, what do I put in my body? What I do with it's my fucking body. Who are you to tell me I can't do this or that? What am I, fucking 6 years old? And this is something that we've normalized in our societies. No, but look at how far it's gone. Look at Afghanistan is a perfect example of how far it can go. It's gone all the way in. It's like, are you kidding? Women aren't even allowed to talk out loud outside? Really? The human voice of a woman's voice could titillate a man? It's worse than the Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
I honestly, the Handmaid's Tale, it sounds like a Mary Poppins fucking movie compared to what these women are really actually going through. When you allow, we were talking about how Texas just passed a law. Oh my God, we're so excited. They're going to teach the Bible. And my whole conversation was Dead Sea Scrolls, Gospel of Mary, Gospel of Thomas, Gospel of Philip. Really? Okay, let's go. Buddhism, Quran. Are we going to teach that too? Hinduism? Are we going to teach it all, or we're just going to brainwash kids again? We're going to keep going back into the cycle of brainwashing. Right? And it's like we're looping back into the 1940s and 50s, which is funny because when you do that to people, when you oppress, especially the Starseeds being born right now, you pull that shit on these kids. As it is, these kids don't believe in loyalty to the job. Why should they? Because they've seen their parents get fired on the spot. Like, how many people do you know have been laid off from jobs they've been at 10, 20, 30 years, a week before Christmas or a week before Thanksgiving? How many people? I know you know at least two people in your incarnation that you've seen that happen. No one's loyal to anyone anymore. So they're gonna bring all this shit in Texas, and these people are gonna be really sorry because these kids are gonna come out at 18. They think the hippie generation was bad. They have no idea what's coming. When you oppress people like that, especially these young souls coming in, not young, but young people coming in, these ancient souls that are here to kick down some doors, they're gonna really kick down some doors. They're not gonna play around. You can't do that. Madonna was in a Catholic school. That should tell you something right there. When you oppress people, you piss them off. They become even more rebellious. I remember I was in school in Hong Kong and we had religious studies. All religions, just so on the side note, at the age of like 13, 14, 15, all religions. So we had a very healthy respect for different people. But when you do that to kids with the internet and they know what else is real and they'll look up shit. And I remember when I was doing Bible studies in the Lutheran school when I was in Hong Kong, it was one of the classes. I remember finding all the shit that was totally inappropriate, PORN, in the Old Testament constantly. I was constantly challenging the fucking teacher. And that was in the 70s. I can't even imagine what these kids are going to do during Bible studies. It's not going to go well. They're thinking they're dealing with kids from the 1940s, 50s, 60s. No, they're not. These are totally different kids with phones, information, and they will rip up. They will pull up Billy Carson. They'll be thrown out of class more often than not, many of them. So I don't know what they think they're doing. It's kind of funny, actually. What are your thoughts on that?
This idea that, again, we have to look at it. If they are teaching the Bible, right?
Mm-hmm.
As in they're teaching the Council of Nicaea, the post-Council of Nicaea Bible, and they're dissecting the Old Testament.
Mm-hmm.
We know that a lot of that is promoting Anunnaki mentality.
Absolutely.
Again, this is all, they know that these kids are powerful. They know that these kids are coming in to do really important stuff for the ascension of the planet.
Yeah.
And they're trying to brainwash them. They're trying to invest them in fear, in closed-mindedness.
And also in hormone blockers. And all kinds of shit dealing with their sexuality. They're going right for the root chakra. And when you fuck someone by the root chakra, whether it's done by the little fruit, the little fruit called grape, and they're doing what they need to do to make sure that these people are biologically destroyed so that they cannot be the vessel, the avatar cannot contain the soul within. It'll be too hard. That's actually why it's done. Because when you have people going, and when you get your period, when you go into menopause, you know what I'm talking about. Let's not bullshit. Men have it too, but it's more overt for women because we are the vessels of souls, okay? But when you start fucking with people like that and like confusing them, how many people are now coming out going, I wish I'd never done it. The problem is I had self-loathing. I had no problem with my gender, but I was confused and I didn't get the right support. That's fucked up. That kind of shit, karmically, on the free will, system of the universal laws that go back billions of years, is going to backfire like a cannonball to these people who are pulling this shit to basically hijack some of these souls from becoming the souls that shift the planet. And so what's happening though on another level is that a lot of us who are building communities are also going to be giving birth to souls who will be free to think. In fact, we will be like Shaolin masters, because we're going to teach these kids how to protect in the physical world, in the mental world, and that's what I mean by Shaolin, where the last thing will be to use any kind of violence, last thing, because they'll be able to use their minds and energy and levitate. And I'm seeing kids right now on TikTok literally playing with energy, rubbing their hands together and moving a glass across the table, and there's no string attached. And they're playing it like, some people play dice, some people play blackjack, or some people play baseball. These kids are fucking around on the table saying, can I move this bottle across the table? Let me see. And they're like, it's nonchalant. They're already coming in. And they have they know, but they don't know. And they think that if we do the woke thing where, well, are you a boy? Do you want to be a girl, a boy, a dog, a cat? I align with gators. Can I be a gator? It's like that shit is, and then they shame you for questioning it. And then we have to use all of these weird words. George Carlin would rip our particular timeline to pieces. You guys would be roaring in laughter and crying at the same time. But this is where it's at. And there's very few of us. That's why I was sad when they remember Andromeda. I said, I really do feel we only actually have 144,000 of us. I really actually, and it's a great number. And I keep bringing up a lot of things, and I repeat myself. Like, remember the 300? I was talking about Robin Hood, Yeshua, what else? Braveheart, Gladiator, should I go on? Real people, fictional people, they all lose. We've been trained to believe that we will, no matter what we do, we'll always lose. We'll do the great fight, but here, now there's Gladiator 2. Like, I'm sorry, really? How come? And the message is really interesting. It's nefarious as fuck, because what they're saying is, no matter what you do, you will be beaten down. We will fucking always win. The 1% will always win. That's what they've been showing us again and again and again. And this is where we have to reprogram ourselves out of the brainwashing from generations. Not only will we win, we have won. It's like me saying, just come and pick up your fucking keys. The money's in the bank. Just show up. It's already done. What? It's done? Yeah, just show up. And so we are the gathering place to show up, to collect the winnings. What's the winnings? The new earth, the 5D. What does it look like? And that's where you have to fight your 3D brain, who wants to suggest that what you're trying to visualize is impossible because it's not logical. This is why I've read many of these books to you guys on the holographic universe, right? Yeah. This is why I'm telling you, go on my YouTube to catch up if you don't know what I'm talking about. Not because I'm smarter than you. I've read the book, and I'm telling you, go read that book. You'll understand what I'm talking about. That person's smarter than both of us combined, who wrote the book. And so it's knowledge, so you can hack out of your brain. You got to hack out of it every day. Because on the logical sense of the brainwashing of 3D logic, you will be fucked if you try to figure it out. You're going to have to feel your way out of this, not think it through the 3D brain. And once you're out of your 3D brain, you will be able to download more knowledge, like almost like what unspoken knowing, wisdoms, and it will hit you in the heart chakra and the root chakra and the third eye, and you'll be upgraded again and again and again. This is why some of the greatest thinkers have read the Bhagavad Gita and the Battle of Kurukshetra, about free will and fate, but also about the concept of the brain can only the human brain can only take a certain amount. That's why this junk DNA, how much brain do we use? Like 10%, 15% of our actual brain matter is used. Do you know that as I was reading The Mind Power into the 21st Century, they were mentioning almost 5 inventors, and all of them dreamed the answer to the invention that were scientific. They didn't think it through. They dreamed it. It was downloaded to them. They felt it through. Not thought it, not calculate. They felt it through. What do you think of that? Can you expound on that, by the way?
Yeah, inspiration is something that happens when you open your mind to it. Mm-hmm. Right? When you meditate on it, when you ask for answers, when you ask the universe to give you a solution to a problem. Yeah. And that's where the inspiration comes, and it will come in meditation, it will come in a dream, it will come in a download out of nowhere. And suddenly you have the answer. And it takes work to get there. It takes a certain, I don't really like this word necessarily, but it takes a certain mindset.
Yeah.
Right? And if you break down that word mindset, okay, we've got our conscious mind and we have our subconscious mind. And when you open yourself up to the power of your subconscious mind, through breath work, through meditation, through sound frequency, when you do that, you will tap into the power of your subconscious mind, which is infinite. It is infinite because it is a direct line to source, which is infinite.
Yeah.
And it's difficult, the prefrontal cortex, the conscious mind, has difficulty with understanding the concept of infinite.
Yeah.
Because we're surrounded, we're in houses that are walled, right? We look at the sky and we do not see with our conscious mind that we are looking into infinity. So tapping into that subconscious mind, and just a word about sound frequency. If you're going to use sound, if you're going to use certain hertz, be very, very sure that you're not using anything with 440 hertz.
Yeah.
Okay, because that is something that will actually block the channels between your subconscious and your conscious mind. And again, it's been done deliberately.
Yeah.
And they just kept on showing me this, Tony. So I hope you don't mind if I share a past life.
Yeah. No, I don't mind. Go ahead.
You know the one I'm going to talk about, because it's about the power of the possible.
Yeah.
And the power of totally surrendering and releasing fear.
Yeah.
I was a young woman in, I think, Belgium. And I was an unusual girl, right? Because the girls were not encouraged. This was, Middle Ages. Girls were not encouraged to read. Girls were not encouraged to develop their minds. Girls were going to be wives and mothers, and that was it. But I did. I learned to read, and I trained with an apothecary, and I became a healer in the town, and also a midwife. And something went wrong during a birth, and the mother and baby died, and the husband accused me of witchcraft. And I was taken away. I was taken to the priest. It was a new priest in the village. And the priest was my twin. Yeah. And I went to trial. I was convicted. I was sentenced to the fate of witches. I don't need to say it. And they tried to get me to sign a recantation, right? And say that, and admit that I had been working with the DEVIL and all of this, right. And I refused. Because I said, how can I sign something? How can my life depend on an untruth? Mm-hmm. And my twin was there with tears in his eyes, because we'd spent, although he couldn't take my confession because of the conviction, he stayed with me the night before and we talked. Mm. And in that moment of talking to him, I completely forgot about what was going to happen. I completely lost any fear of what was going to happen, because for the first time in my life, I experienced true unconditional love that I couldn't even explain. And as the fire was lit and I saw the smoke rising, I looked at him, tears in his eyes, and I mouthed to him, I forgive you, I love you. And then I was taken out of my body. There was no pain. There was no fear. They took me out of my body.
Yeah.
The power that we have when we surrender to the wisdom of the universe, when we surrender to love, and when we completely reject fear, our power as souls, even in these bodies, is infinite. And I can feel people on this live being uncomfortable with that concept. Or maybe not uncomfortable, but not quite believing it to be true. But I've experienced it.
But it is true because they talk about it, because you'll see certain people dying of a very intense suffering, right? Torture, whatever. And the person's already out of their body. And I've actually seen it. It's weird. It's almost like the avatar, the egoic framework of a person is still there, but they've already left their soul. I mean, they've already left the body. Their soul is more or less maybe around it, but it's not in it, suffering. You know what I mean by that? And so I'm not surprised. And I've also heard that to be said and to be done. And I wish it was a psychologist who was doing hypnotherapy on kids that had been abused. You get what kind of abuse I'm talking about. I hope you guys know what I'm talking about. And the child, a guardian angel, an angel would come, we'll call it a guide, a guardian, and remove the soul of the child while this was happening and entertain them. And then when the deed was done, they would allow the soul to slip back into the body, kind of like a transcendental meditation or going out of your body. Many of you have had incredible visceral dreams out of your body, and you feel like you've been slammed back into your body. You know that thing where you feel like the cord is yanking you back in your body? So I totally know that you were removed out of that body and there was no suffering, because the final incredible act of trust and unconditional love was you saying, I forgive you and I love you. And that released you. You dropped your body at will, which shamans do, right? The true shamans and true avatars, they do that. They're able to do that at will. That's what makes the story of Yeshua on the cross so unbelievable, because he could have done that, but he did not.
Yeah.
How can you talk about that? Why the difference? Why was this interesting?
Yeshua was at such a level of consciousness that he knew that he still had things to say.
Mm-hmm.
And so he forgave the other two men who were beside him. He spent time ensuring that all of those around him were to be forgiven.
Yeah.
And he knew that was an important thing to show, that even in that situation of extreme physical pain, he could transcend that to still be this being of light.
Yeah, but the question is, why was it important for them to witness him being on the cross?
For that reason, because he transcended the physical pain.
Gotcha. And it's interesting because one of the movies that was banned in New York City in the late 70s, early 80s was called The Last Temptation of Christ. And it's a very important movie. You should watch it with Passion of the Christ, like go back to back, and then definitely try to get yourself a comic after that, but what's interesting is this transcending the body. Now let's talk about that. So, you know, when I talk about hacking the body, and then you think about the Matrix where they're hacking out of the body, and actually you think about Wim Hof, where he's transcending the body, right? When you see these monks up in the snowy hills, drenched in wet snow and completely doused in water, and transcending the body, when monks self-immolate without a word, transcending the body, right? It's interesting. So we've had, unfortunate, and sad to say, honestly, and yet with Wim Hof, what a gift. They've transcended the body. That means that you can totally transcend your logical monkey mind. You have to want it. I think it's desire to transcend the limitations of the monkey mind. Right? And it's very difficult because we want in some capacity or not, we want nectar, right? We want things to be easy. We don't want to suffer like that. And the suffering will be temporary. And it's believe me, trust me, the whole system is set up so that you don't have the time. Something will come up to fuck you off your focus, and you have to make yourself a priority in the next, like, what would you say, 12 months? Because that will be the training. 12 calendar months. That will be the training, okay? And the training is what? To transcend the body, to transcend the monkey mind, to basically, like, it's almost like taking off this meat, like bone and suit, and going, let me do things that stretch me, that scare me a little, but that will bring me to such a level of power that no one can ever own my mind, my body, my soul ever, in any capacity ever again. And I think that's what we need to start practicing as individually, and to teach it to our children. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Excuse my cat. She's being very, yeah. very, very helpful. Yeah. And how do we do that? That's the question that everybody's going to ask. How do we do that? Well,
Meditations.
Exactly. Meditations, chakra work.
Every day.
Every single day. Visualization. Yeah. And, you know, remember that the universe, it only really has one answer, okay?
Well,
and that answer is yes.
Yeah. Well,
all right. So if you say, well, the new earth is here, okay? The universe, yes, it is.
Yes, it is, exactly. And there are people who have crossed over.
Yeah.
Totally crossed over. I also feel like I used to be fascinated by the Devil's Triangle. You guys know where it is, like the Bermuda, and whole passenger planes would disappear, right? I mean, never to be seen again, and not in the ocean. We have satellites now, so we could have seen, right? Oh, look, it's sunk over there, but we never found some of these planes, and so we have to go back to portals. And when I was doing an Akashic reading, because there's the whole story in the New Age community that, you know, when Atlantis fell, everyone collapsed and it was over, and we went into 3D, into amnesia. Well, I found out in my Akashic reading that's not what happened. That's not what happened. When Atlantis fell, we still had portals open in Tibet, parts of Africa, other parts of Asia, parts of Europe. You can look at Ireland. It's a great example. For example, America, North, South America, portals that were 5, 6D, that were still open. They had not been destroyed by the fall of Atlantis at all. And these portals are still around. The ley lines are an example of it. The crop circles are another example of it. And we know that Sedona, people go and they're like, there's portals. So there are portals over the ocean, things of that nature. And so if you believe what I just said, there are portals, they're still there, right? Then you know that 5D is just walking across bridges into this portal, and then boom, it closes the portal. They're really talking a lot about Antarctica and portals there. They're talking about worlds under the ocean. I mean, Jules Verne was exploring that, H.G. Wells, all of them, Time Machine. It's because they're there. And all you have to do is say yes to it. And the portals will open. It's like Shazam. Open sesame. It's that simple. But and they even illustrated that in Harry Potter. Remember, and I brought this up before, right? Andromeda, what is he trying to do? He's trying to follow his friends, his cousins, or whatever. And he hits the wall, right? And they go, try again, Harry, concentrate, and boom, he goes right through the veils, right? And the portal opens for him. That's us, my friends. They've been giving us breadcrumbing hints, breadcrumbing us for centuries. Right? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and remember that portals, yeah, okay, there are geographical locations on Earth which are particularly powerful, but a portal can open up anywhere.
Exactly.
Absolutely anywhere. Because time and space are, again, infinite, okay? So you can ask for portal to be, you can create portals in your mind, right? I did a beautiful meditation the other day where I was at the edge of a lake and I visualized, and this all just happened naturally, I wasn't directing it. But the water rearranged itself into a portal. I walked through the portal into the new earth.
Beautiful.
So portals are portals are available to us all. Okay, portals into different timelines, different dimensions, different states of wisdom, different states of being.
Yeah.
Jennifer said, talk about mirrors. Yeah, be careful with mirrors.
Oh my God. Yeah, in fact, I have a mirror right here and I cover it.
Yeah, I cover my mirrors as well.
Yeah, and your laptop. If you have a laptop, close the screen. If you have a desktop, put something over it. Even my son does that. It's a portal, but it could be the wrong, it's definitely the wrong portal. It can be the wrong portal, let's put it that way. Which means it can attract or bring in. Do you understand? Once you start waking up, my friend, you become dangerous to the 1%. You do become dangerous. I'm seeing it again and again. And this is why, I mean, if I were you, and I've been doing this for years, but I sage myself every day. And I say, only people of light come to me from, wherever I walk, abundance of love, health, and wealth follow me wherever I go. And then I turn to my left with my sage and I go, angels, guides, and allies, I give you permission to guide me in word and action. Then I had to up it because there was spiritual attacks going on about, I'd say 2.5 years ago. And at that point, I started calling on the archangels as bodyguards, 2 in front, 2 behind, and then 1 circling, believe it or not, like a wheel going clockwise. And all of these things I had to do. Do I get hit by a sadness, a feeling? Yeah, because it's fucking a shit show. It's hard. And what they've done with some of these wars that they decided to, let's do, like instead of kicking rocks, and you'll notice that every time we have, and somebody made that comment about weak men are dangerous, right? You said that. Idiot Bush, the son. We had, what was it, 9/11. We've had one thing after his father brought shit on our land. We have destroyed whole generations of extraordinary men, because it's usually extraordinary men that are brave and that will put their lives down for other people. We have lost some really, really important souls in the masculine because of these weak men, which now includes Biden. Supposedly he came out with a book, 100-Year War with plus, whatever. I think it's another side. I think it's bullshit. I think it's all set up. It's too easy. But what I feel is happening is that we are realizing that we're no longer buying the concept of polarity of wars, genocide, and famine. We will not accept it. We do not consent, and and you have to keep co-creating. So when Andromeda says, in her meditation, many of us are meditating the new earth as if it's happening now and saying, thank you so much. I'm so glad I live in the new earth. And we talk about that a lot because it's all the repetition, 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 so that we can understand from each other and soothe each other and bolster each other not to lose our hearts, because they are putting on the fires under our feet, aren't they? They're making the simple act of survival difficult. Things that should, in other words, many of you aren't shopping like you did because most of your money is going for groceries. Bills are out of the fucking world by design. People have, from 2022 to now, we're seeing the result. It's by design to keep us off our, that's why we need to off our, game. And that's why many of us have to seriously start creating our communities. We have to. We've been pushed to that. Does that make sense? The archangel are the most effective for protection. Just trust them. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole point about what we're going through right now as a collective,
Yeah.
that it is due to the systems which the egregore of fear, or the egregores, sorry, of fear, of greed, of separation consciousness, that it's created these systems. And our job now is to refuse to be part of those systems, transcending, if you like, the mundane, right? The mundane aspects of life, and understanding what's happening underneath that, and continuing to manifest a better existence for all on this planet.
Yeah.
And there aren't many of us, as Tony was saying earlier. There are 144,000 of us. That's not many, but when you consider the power of those 144,000 souls, the power in those souls, those starseeds, light workers, twins, it's a huge force.
It is.
Now, getting even getting 144,000 on board is proving to be a little bit of a task.
Yeah.
But that's okay, right? Because these things will happen as we see things like the lockdown, the brutality that's going on in the planet, the oppression that's going on in the planet.
Yeah.
Many, many more people are waking up and saying, well, hold on a second, this is not right.
Yeah.
What on earth is going on? And then people start looking. They start looking within. They start reading stuff. They start understanding where we came from. People like Billy Carson, huge following.
Yeah.
He has, in a way, popularized the Emerald Tablets. What a gift. What a gift to us. But we don't have to sit there and go through books and learn how to translate cuneiform text ourselves. Okay, we have access to books, and to podcasts and to YouTube videos about all of this. So we have the access to so much knowledge. And just a word about twins. Twins are enormously important in this ascension. And it's because of the frequency of unconditional love. And part of that unconditional love is unconditionally loving yourself and your twin, despite what their meat suit is doing.
Exactly. That's really important to understand that, because sometimes it's by design. There's a soul contract, and I did that on a video. It's not a popular thing to say, but a twin, because there's this idea that we're all walking on water. That's not it. We're human beings. We're having the human experience, but there is a soul contract for some of us that we've been so misaligned with our own self-love that our twin will end up coming in to treat us like shit. I'm not joking when I say that. You know, not that they're treating you personally like shit. They pretty much treat a lot of people like shit, but you happen to be the main one. And what happens is you become so outraged, hopefully, that you refuse that kind of behavior anymore. It's like, whoa, you just got a massive gold star because you just realize, I don't give a shit. I love you, but fuck you. I love myself more than you. And that act of self-advocacy and love was the whole point. And you'll notice when people do this, right? When twins do this, you'll notice the twin will come and calm the fuck down and start treating you like you should be treated because you're not taking their shit anymore. It's actually one lesson after another. At least that's what I've seen, not with just myself, but also with, other people that I work with, other clients that I work with. I've seen that show up. And the more you become grounded in that truth, the more the twin is, it's not that they're subjugated, but they lay down their sword and shield and they start treating you like you're a lady or like you're a gentleman. They treat you with respect. And that's the whole point. And then you get closer and closer into union. But in terms of the twin flame union being important, it's important whether you are in these bodies or not. And now I can say that as a truth. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, right? I mean, a lot of twins are on the other side still doing the work for the benefit of the collective.
Yeah, and remember because of the nature of the connection with your twin, right? Your union will be on multiple dimensions. So the union doesn't necessarily have to mean 3D union, wedding rings, living together, right? It doesn't necessarily have to mean that. That's what we're told we should want. That's what we're told we should pursue.
Yeah.
Right? And don't get me wrong, it's a powerful frequency.
Yeah.
A very powerful frequency. Physical union between twins, intimacy between twins is a very powerful vibration that has an effect on the whole collective. So physical unions are important. But the whole point of you incarnating as a twin is so that you can embody unconditional love. And unconditional love means that you love them, you wish the best for them, even if you're not in physical union. That you will still work for the ascension, for the betterment, for the learning and the growth of your soul, regardless of what their meat suit is doing.
Exactly. I want to read this. 144,000 is the frequency we need to attain Christ consciousness. And Jennifer said, we carry Christ consciousness. And so, to be honest with you, we do. Just so you know, truth be told, we carry Christ consciousness. We have it. But I can have, $100,000 in my bank account. If I don't know that it's in there, then I'm not going to access this, am I? And so the problem is that even though we do carry the Christ light codes, and we are definitely fractals of Yeshua, I know that for a fact. We've been talking about this being Andromeda for a year now, and that he's not coming back, okay? I mean, with these people, he wouldn't survive a week because these people would definitely go after him this time. You think Pontius Pilate was fighting? These people would be ready, okay, with knife and fork to get it over with, to be honest, with Yeshua. So we are the fractals of Christ consciousness. The problem is our lack of worthiness and unconditional, pure, unegoic self-love is not as accessible as it should be. And it is very difficult. Social media is a double-edged sword, because in one aspect, here, I'm going to tell you, I talk to men who are clients, right? And they'll say to me, what will they say? They'll say, I'm not worthy. She deserves more. What does she deserve? Well, she deserves me to take care of her, and I only make $50,000 a year or $75,000 a year. and I'm not successful. She could do better than me. And I'm like, hang on, wait, you're seeing your value out of money? Do you understand? And that creates conflict. Money, money, money. Money is not the root of all evil. But once you go into an alignment, this is when I know I'm not in alignment, when I have trouble with money. I'm not in alignment. And it's okay to say, oh, how am I not in alignment? Well, it could be that I'm grieving. It could be that I'm doing this, that, and the other. It could be that I'm angry. It could be, there's all kinds of things it could be. You have to find out what that is for you. But when you are in alignment, everything flows towards you. When you're out of alignment, it feels like you're walking in quicksand and making absolutely no progress. Every step you take, you sink even deeper. And it can be, and if you've been on this planet for like a few decades, it can be exhausting after a while to always be up. So you're going to be down, and you need community to help you so that you don't fall apart, and you can maybe take a rest, maybe get the load taken off your shoulders, and take a breath and get recalibrated, and then go back on the path. It's not a failure. It's just that in community, that is done with a lot of ease and with respect and generosity, right? That's the problem with us. That's one of the mistakes we need to undo is our separations from each other. Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect sense. It's a very important, a very, very important point. And it brings us like almost full circle back to, the idea of what is separating us right now.
Yeah.
Who is trying to separate us? I just wanted to answer. So, truth be told, has said, follow his words and you can attain what he attained. I'd just like to clarify what that means, his words.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember how the Bible, and I know that you know this because you made the point earlier, truth be told, but remember how the Bible has been edited and clipped.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So when we talk about the words of Yeshua, we're not limiting ourselves to the New Testament. And that's an important point, because the New Testament does not include his very beautiful relationship with Mary of Magdalena.
Mm-hmm.
It does not include how he felt about women being spiritually equal. It really does not include enough about his belief in true egalitarianism.
Yeah.
And you have to delve into the Gnostic Gospels.
Yes.
But also your own meditation and developing a real relationship with Yeshua.
Yes.
With the energy of Yeshua. I mean, Tony and I both work a lot with the energy of Yeshua.
Yeah.
And like he's one of my, like, I mean, all of the energies are beautiful. But there's something about Yeshua's energy that
Yes.
that balance between being a total badass and being gentle. There's an incredible benevolence and sympathy with Yeshua's energy, because he walked on this earth, because he suffered on this earth, because he was vilified on this earth. He understands what we are going through here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you a story when Yeshua first came into my life. I've been chasing Yeshua since I was 8, but I realized that it was all bullshit. I don't know why. I just knew. And so one day I'm doing a hypnotherapy. I'm about to get trained. I do a hypnotherapy. And I'm going to meet the Galactic Council. But before I do, apparently, I'm just telling you how it was. I come across this great hall in clouds and these incredible colors and crystalline stairs And I'm looking up and I see dragons in the rotunda, but it's not a ceiling. There is no ceiling. Imagine, right? Everything's gaseous and gorgeous and sun's raising and it's just the colors. And I see this man and I'm talking to my hypnotherapist. I'm seeing this man and I describe what you would call Yeshua. And I go, who the hell why is this person here? He says, maybe it's your guide. No, it's not my guide. I know it's not my guide, which I was correct. It was not my guide. And the next thing I know, I'm in a waterfall of ice, kind of like Lake Victoria in Africa, with all these waterfalls. It's the largest lake in the world, I think. Anyway, and I'm sitting there and it's ice, it's snowy, and I'm sitting like it's summer. And as he looks at me, he looks away because every time I look into his eyes, I get completely blown away by his gaze. And I look down, and finally, as we talk telepathically, I realize it is Yeshua. Holy shit, wait, hang on. And the snows melt into spring. And that was the first time I saw him. And I was so obsessed in meeting him like that, right? That I looked for an art piece and I found it that looked like the man I saw. And when I say I was obsessed with Yeshua, chasing Jesus, aka Yeshua, since I was 8, I'm not kidding. I read books about him. I knew there was something not being told. The lies, something. I couldn't put it. It's weird how past lives still reverberate, echo in the chambers of your whole being. Does that make sense? It was almost like hell-bent on righting the wrongs, for example. And I remember doing a crystalline, activation of a crystal, quartz crystal. I'm not going to go into it. I've said it before. And instead of Buddha, Yeshua came in. It was a clear, no, you have to activate this crystal with Yeshua energy, not Buddha, for whatever reason, not in this particular crystal. I ended up keeping the crystal. I was doing that for a client and they wanted Buddha. And I was like, I'm sorry, it didn't want that. It wanted this. And again, I saw Yeshua and the sacred bonding. I'm not even going to call it marriage, the sacred bond of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. And I could tell you more, but I've said it before. And look at the other videos we've done, the other lives. But the fact is, it's not a myth. And I know there are people they're wonderful writers, actually, great thinkers who have tried to connect Yeshua with Bacchus, Dionysus, to Isis, Osiris, to say that these are archetypes that have been reproduced and remanifested and this, that, and the other. But I can tell you that I didn't call on Yeshua to be in my fucking hypnotherapy session. It just happened. And then another meditation on my own. So now it's an ally of mine, right? And Mary Magdalena. And what I'm trying to say to you is this is not as simplistic because you've got a lot of people that are atheists who don't believe, who really are, academes, and who have said, yeah, well, Bacchus, the death, the rebirth, it's in this one, it's in that one, it's Isis, the whole point. And the point is what I'm trying to say is these were real human beings that took on these incarnations to teach us. And what I found with the human mind is sometimes you have to say things, the same fucking thing, 60 different ways. And so though they may look like archetypes, to be honest with you, I think they're a representation of different advertising. Let's do it again. Let's see if they get it. It didn't work. Let's do it again. Let's see if they get it. What are your thoughts on that?
It's interesting because you do get people attempt to conflate, Thoth. Thoth is another one, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay, where they say that, Thoth was right? Yeah. But the whole, you're right. I mean, the stories are repeated.
Yeah.
But if you, for me personally, right, I have meditated on a lot of these energies. And the energy of Yeshua is very distinctive, okay, when you're working with him. I don't believe that he was Thoth. I don't believe that, because the energy is different.
I agree with that.
Yeah. but you have to become accustomed to working with that energy. But this whole story of the persecuted messenger, this is why there's a conflation. This is why people conflate these different historical characters.
Yeah.
Because this is a story that will be repeated until we get the effing message.
Yeah.
Right. Now, Yeshua has had incarnations, has had other incarnations on other planets.
Of course, yeah.
And he has become an ascended master.
Yeah.
Along with Mary of Magdalena, his twin.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, right?
Yeah.
After that incarnation on Earth in our time 2,000 years ago, in our linear time 2,000 years ago, and he said he was coming back, but he has come back as fractals.
Yeah.
As Mary of Magdalena. And we carry those codes within us.
Yeah.
Within our consciousness. And we can access them. But as you said, we can have all the money, all the abundance, all the everything. But if we don't know it's there,
Yeah.
and we don't know how to access it, we've forgotten our PIN number, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah.
We've forgotten our PIN, we've forgotten our spiritual PIN. Right?
Right.
And the spiritual PIN is your meditation and your chakra work and your ascension and your shadow work. Right?
Yeah.
Don't underestimate the importance of shadow work. And shadow work doesn't have to be onerous. People are really afraid of shadow work. But what you have to keep telling yourself is that, you know, if you're excavating, say, something that you're really, you feel shame. You feel shame about something that you've done. And we've all done things that we feel ashamed of. For some people, they're going to be huge things. For other people, they're going to be trivial. But we've all got things that we feel ashamed of.
Yeah.
Remember, you're not that person anymore. The person you are today would not have done those things. And so you have to forgive yourself. You even have to forgive yourself when others have perpetrated that shame upon you.
Yeah.
Okay? And it may hurt to look back on those shadows. But when you forgive yourself and you release it,
Yeah.
and you integrate that forgiven part of yourself back into you, you become more and more and more whole. Wholeness isn't like a walnut. Wholeness expands. You are whole. You just become expanded.
Yeah. It's funny you said that because that's what I was saying on live this morning, talking about the shadow work. It's so crazy. Because I'm not bullshitting. You'll see it when I upload it. And
It doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. We're always doing that.
Right, because that's the path. And I was, in fact, I was talking about Akashic readings and hypnotherapy and how you have to just go in. You got to cannonball in. I always say cannonball in. That means go big or go home. It's that simple. And nothing's gonna harm you. Like nothing is gonna. It can't harm you. It's the only thing that's gonna harm you is your own monkey mind, your own mind beating yourself up. There's nothing that you should be ashamed of as long as you're not harming, like literally harming children and animals. And as long as you're not harming children or animals, the rest of it is forgivable, to be honest with you. And I can't forgive somebody who does that because that's not in my realm. It's not in my wheelhouse. Who am I to fucking forgive that? But to be honest with you, as long as you do things with integrity and love and always asking yourself, I want to write this book, or I want to do this painting, or I want to buy this house, or whatever, ask yourself, how will this benefit other people? You living in that community benefits other people. Why? Because you've got energy. You're like a moldavite crystal. If you move in a community, ask yourself, can it benefit this community? I know people who live in communities and they're like literally freaking out, going, I need to get the fuck out of here. Instead of surrendering and going, believe me, I know how that feels, and sitting there and going, I'm here for the energy. I'm here for those short, evolved, esoteric conversation. I'm here. And once you surrender to whatever the situation is, the universe will always spit you out and go, okay, you're done. You can go now. We're good. You got it. You got it. You've planted your seeds here. Keep going. And a lot of us are being made to be nomadic, like you wouldn't believe. It's insane how we're moving from one place to another. And a lot of people go, well, and it's beyond your control. For many of you, that's not a reality yet. But I can tell you that once you get into more surrendering and more connecting with, really feeling the universe speak to you telepathically, feeling it in downloads, images, and words and numbers and things like that, you're going to go, wait, I need to go X, Y, and Z. That's why you're seeing so many expats, Americans, moving out of America, and you've got people coming out of Europe moving to America. It's a shift. It's a crossing of the guards, right? It's like an energy shift is happening, right? Obviously. So that you need to feel that. You need to feel your answers. Can past life regressions be a form of forgiveness? Yes. Yes, because like, for example, when you go into hypnotherapy and you deal with something that is insane, right? One of the things, let's say you were unalivened, since that the word, by somebody else, and you realize within seconds, oh my God, that was my uncle, that was my father, that was my whatever, right? And at that point, your hypnotherapist, in my case, you and me, or for example, I would lead you into asking them, why did you do that to me? What did you gain from doing that to me? And then them seeing them, if they'll forgive you. Sometimes, I'm going to be honest with you, this will shock you. You think this is a playbook, right? That if your soul asks their soul, can you say you're sorry? Can you say that because I'll forgive you, but I need to hear that you're sorry, that in retrospect, you shouldn't have done that. Well, in some cases, because you really are tapping into a fractal piece of that soul that did harm to you or whatever, for example, some of them will refuse to say, I'm sorry. And you have to be ready to say, even though you're not sorry, I forgive you. And hopefully one day you'll understand you'll grow to understand why this was not okay. But I forgive you unconditionally. That can't happen. Believe it or not, it's shocking, isn't it? That a soul would, a fractal piece of the soul from 500 years ago, or even 1,000 years ago, or would say, yeah, I'm not sorry, fuck you. It can happen. And that's okay. Because the main thing is for you to let go. And one of the exercises, when I do the 4 corners above and below, when I look on, and you can listen to it, it's on my TikTok and on my YouTube. It's I face the south, and I'm being born on the wings of the gold eagle. In my case, Garuda, but in your case, an eagle. And I say, every move I ever made, every death, every life, every joy, everything, I just go back and forth. This is what I do. I am grateful. I forgive myself, and I'm grateful. And I even do the Ho'oponopono to myself with only my first name, because you could have been married, maiden, this, that, and the other. And then I just say, I forgive myself because I would not be who I am today. And whatever haunts you, do a Ho'oponopono to yourself as you visualize the person or situation or thing you regret, so that you can release it energetically. Ho'oponopono really works. There are people doing certificates of completion on Ho'oponopono, and we don't know why it works, but it does. Okay? So anyway, I hope that answers your question. Keeps kicking me out. I'm about to smudge. This is bizarre. I'm so sorry. Well, I'm going to upload this live as well on YouTube. Go to my YouTube channel. The handle is Sacred Intimacy Tarot. It's the same as it. Go on my profile page, actually, and then you'll click on one of the links, YouTube, and it'll take you right there. But That's weird, Beth, that that's happening. That's bizarre. I know that TikTok's doing some weird shit. You know, people following me are being removed. Andromeda, I was talking about you, how you're not getting the kind of action on your
Yeah.
videos and you're being shadow banned because of our lives. Basically, you partnering with me has impacted your ability to grow your channel. Please follow Andromeda Flame while you're here, by the way. But you know what's up? It's because our energy is trying to share with as much integrity as we can manifest for yourselves and for ourselves to speak the truth. We're certainly, believe me, these lives don't make me a dime. I'm being honest, okay? And TikTok, I was saying that I got a huge gift or something, and they took the gift. They basically said you don't qualify for the gift, which I don't care. It would have been $3. It's not going to, kill me. But my point is, there's weird shit going on right now that are really trying to throw us to the ground. And we have to say, that's okay. I have other solutions. I'm going here. I'm going there. And that's why I'm trying. A lot of my lives are going to be, please go over there. Because Andromeda Flame and I are looking to do a Rumble and do YouTube and do Spotify. I know that David Icke was thrown out of Spotify, thrown out of a lot of things. And he has his own membership and his own website, and we might eventually end up doing that as we grow, And why do we want to grow? We want to grow because we want to be able to focus on bringing a lot of people across the bridges into the 5D. That's really what we were born to do. Yes, we have our twin flame journeys, right? Minds transformed, right? So it's a different type of relationship, but it's still very much the nectar. Though it would be nice if you was sitting right with me right now, telling me, "Come on, it's late now. You need to go to bed now." That but what I will say is that we were born to meet. Just so you know, on the side note, and why I know this, I mean, on multiple, it's like me and Andromeda talk like we've never stopped the conversation from hundreds of years ago. But most importantly, this is very, very big. She has my mother's birthday. You can't make this up. And that's a massive, the way the universe speaks to you through numbers. And one of the things that was the connection was, oh my God. And her life path and my life path and my twin's life path and her are the same, right? Andromeda, we've never shared that. Do you mind me sharing? Because
Yeah.
that's mind blowing.
Twins' life path is your life path, and your twins'
Yep.
life path is my life path.
Yep. And you have my mother's birth. That's insane,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So do you understand? So when you pay attention, and my twin was the first person on the planet who taught me about numbers and the number 9 and specifics, but numbers and patterns and words. He had an incredibly refined mind with a very thuggish demeanor. He was like a boxer. It was the weirdest. It was a clashing of concepts that just, and it was done out of necessity to survive on this planet. Because if you're going to be a man and you're going to be an alpha male, you're going to get assholes up on your ass, and you better back it up with your own power. And it's fucked up. It's fucked up. We live in a planet that has created violence as the answer for everything. Am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely correct. And it's the egregore. It's the egregore of that Anunnaki reptilian need to dominate.
Yeah. Oh, it's anyway. Any last words? It's 27 people. I love it. My favorite number, and 5,400 or whatever. So the number 9 was back to back. How wild is that? Any last words before we wrap it up?
No, I think we covered a lot.
I think we covered a lot. Yeah, it's going to be a lot for me to upload. Now, 9. So let me just say this, okay? On my live, some of them I edit, but some of them are 3 hours long. I'm not editing, so you might see an echo. Please be patient. It works out. Just do your dishes while you're listening to these lives. Don't worry about it. It might repeat itself. Maybe it's supposed to repeat, maybe for more clarity. I don't know, but be patient. I can't edit 3 hours, okay? But I have some videos I'm uploading. I think I'm going to go ahead and upload You know what I'm gonna do, Andromeda? Instead of trying to splice our video where we were banned for a minute, like literally for 5 minutes, I think I might do a part one and part two, and therein lies the issue.
Yeah,
That's, you know what I mean?
yeah.
And then it's uploaded, and that's the end of it, because I'm trying to like splice it together, this and that. It's driving me crazy. Um, but I want to thank you all for being here. Um, you know, if you want to join the Starseeds Awakening group, let me know. DM me your phone number, your real name, and I will add you. Thank you so much. Your teaching is so important. Yes, we're both very grateful. Andromeda and I are very grateful to your light, your love, and your honoring this journey in yourself, your family, the current lineage you embody, and for the collective. You know, the work you're doing is going to impact your children, my son, my grandchildren. I'll be long gone, and I'll be no less happy to know that all of the work that we're doing, some of us will never meet each other or face each other, but we do feel the energy of the goodness of this incredible path that we've all volunteered to take. And so, not to kiss your ass, but you should be proud to some level, and then get back to being humble, because I don't want to feed your ego, because that's why we've been in this loop. The ego's always been fed. So when you listen to videos, let's say you're 5 reasons why you're the chosen one, run like hell, because it's feeding your ego. Anything that feeds your ego is not good. Okay, it's going to keep you stagnant. Do you have anything to add on that? Because that is a truth that people need to understand. Anything that feeds your ego is a no.
Yeah, exactly. This, chosen one nonsense. It's pretty dangerous, right? And what we all need to do is we all need to tame our ego. And it was a download that I had fairly recently about taming the ego, about the need to regulate your ego. And how do you do that? Well, you do it through chanting, you do it through meditation, you do it through work. And it's continual work. This idea of ego death it's actually right. There is no such thing as ego death. All we can do is tame our ego so that it's our higher self and higher spiritual wisdom that comes through more clearly, louder than the ego. Because the ego stops you from doing dangerous stuff. But if you allow the ego to go unchecked, you will be in that consciousness of fear, in that consciousness of procrastination, in that consciousness of self-sabotage, if I'm not good enough, I'm not loving yourself enough.
Yeah.
So how do you control your ego? You chant, you meditate, you do your chakra work, if affirmations are your thing, do affirmations and repeat and repeat and repeat until it soaks into your subconscious so that your ego cannot be heard.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Anyway, I want to thank you all. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being here so long. We appreciate your time and your lovely energy. And this has been an incredible live with incredible energies. We feel your goodness coming through, and we're so happy to meet you. So if you want to join our Starseeds Awakening, let us know. We need our ego to be alive. It's kind of like running background program. Yeah, but I mean, you can't be owned by it. And unfortunately, that's been trained in us. You know what I mean? To not see it as a background. It needs to be more. There's more that we can dissect on that. Much love. Anyway, thank you so much for your time. Sending you much love on your journey. Please look for this live and other lives on the YouTube. And we should be coming up with a guided meditation at some point soon. Okay, me and Andromeda will do on a live, and we'll announce it, and we'll do it soon, probably this coming week. Okay. All right. Namaste. Be well. Be well.